to felicitate her and ask her to share a few words with us. Please. A big round of applause, everyone. I would also like to call one of the organizers of GDG Kolkata, Shumantra Mukherjee, to felicitate her.
Hello. It's really amazing to see so many enthusiastic AI enthusiasts, I would say, here. Very good morning to all of you. To all the participants and all the dignitaries present here. Our Provici admin Professor Supratim Sen is here. Our faculty members are from Computer Science Department is here. And the organizing team of GDG Kolkata is here. And also, I'd like to welcome all the attendees to this beautiful event. She has rightly said, I have seen the schedule. It's really tight-packed. And it's really interesting. At least a few, the first two I have gone through, and I was thinking that it would be really great if I would also be a part of it. So I would also like to sit with you and would like to participate. So it's a very, very innovative kind of and need of the hour kind of collaboration between this developer group and our students. And I can see that all the organizers and participants are very young, and we are really looking forward to a very fruitful event. Okay? So without wasting much time, thank you so much for organizing these. All the members of organizing committee, I would like to welcome from Sister Nivedita University. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for your kind words. Now I would like to call upon stage the Pro Vice Chancellor Admin of this very university, Supratim Sen, and I would like to invite Otri Dash to felicitate him. We would like for you to share a few words with us.
Good morning, faculty members, Dean Malamitra, and most importantly, our students and the bright minds who will shape our future. The title of this workshop or conference today is indeed very powerful. Build with AI. It's no more learning AI. We are
Hello.
Is that any one student here can build a startup. You don't need a large team. Okay? You may not have the deep knowledge of coding, but you can build software. And you can solve problems that's impacting our society by using AI co-pilots. So what will separate, people who are going to succeed in the age of AI versus those who may not succeed so well is not only understanding it, but applying it meaningfully. So I'll leave my thoughts with you as you chart your future program and your career. I would leave you with kind of 3 thoughts that I have in my mind. First of all, in tune with today's title of the conference, build with AI. Don't just use the tools. Understand the tools, fine-tune it, and build applications on top of it. That will separate the winner from those who also ran. Secondly, don't focus on technology. Focus on solving problems. Because what makes an impact is when you solve unmet needs. So what you also need to do is, besides learning AI, is learn certain domains, whether it's finance, law, design, healthcare, because ultimately you'll have to provide solutions in a particular area. So just by learning the technology will not help. You will need to develop a deep learning of a particular domain area. And third, which is most important, is develop judgment, not just knowledge. Knowledge alone is not going to take you far in this age of AI, because AI cannot replace human judgment, human ethics, and human context. That's where we still remain superior to AI. Focus on these 3. A common question I hear at various conferences that I attend or sessions on AI is, when young people or even old folks like me, they come and ask, will AI replace my job? AI will not replace your job. You know who will replace your job? Is possibly the person sitting next to you who is applying AI more meaningfully than you are. Collaborate with AI. Don't try to compete with it. Okay? So I leave you with these thoughts and wish you all the best for today's conference and workshop. And I hope to see all of you working towards building with AI. Thank you.
Beautifully said. I would like to agree that AI is infrastructure, is electricity. Not only that, but is also a partner. And that's why we're here to build with, not build for. So to start things off, we have someone who is a true advocate, I would say, for the builder community. She's a developer advocate for Drona HQ and a former GDG on-campus lead who knows exactly what it takes to go from a blank screen to a production-ready app. She's here to challenge the idea that AI is just a solo act. She will be showing us how to build systems where humans and agents will work in perfect harmony through memory and feedback loops. Please welcome on stage, with a huge round of applause, I would say, Ahana Haq.
So, hi everyone. I'm grateful for this opportunity, especially because I have been part of such a team not long back. and now I'm on stage to share my insights and bring on some industry level concepts to you. Because in my journey, when I was in university just a year back, I was also somewhere in the audience thinking and trying to strategize how to make my way through industry, especially when AI is rising. I also had similar questions like, will AI replace me? Will I get a job? Because there's a lot of agents, there's a lot of LLMs that are doing the same job as a lot of humans. But as Sir and Ma'am rightfully said, that AI is not here to replace us. It is more, we are probably going to be replaced by someone who knows AI and knows how to implement it in the right context and solve the right business problems. So let's get started.
Probably उठाई से ठीक है सर cool
All right. So I think we are ready. It's no more sharing my home screen anymore. All right. So my topic is human plus AI. This is a very good place to start, especially the whole session, and set the tone for the next sessions as well. This topic will make you realize why AI cannot single-handedly solve problems. Why there is always going to be a need of human to supervise, to coordinate, and to set things on track so that it doesn't derail or hallucinate. Before we dive any further, quick intro about me. Just one question. Is my audio too loud? Should I just tone it down? Or is it fine? Fine? Okay, perfect. So, hi, I'm Aharna Haq. I'm the developer advocate at Jonah HQ. Just a quick one line about Jonah HQ is that we provide B2B business solutions, especially in terms of AI, agents, vibe coding. And we just don't do like first level of solving. We actually build agents and applications that can solve real problems with all of the governance and guardrails that any enterprise agent would need. Now I'm throwing around a lot of terms which we'll dive in further. So I'm pretty sure that everyone here has used AI, especially for their projects. Can we get a show of hands, whoever has used AI? Alright, that's a lot of them. Like right now, even when I write an email, I even use AI. So, I mean, it's everywhere, right? And the pattern right now that the market has seen is that instead of going to Google, we go to ChatGPT, we go to Gemini. If we need an image, we don't open slides or even Canva anymore. We just ask Gemini to make it for us, right? So that's how the context has shifted. But have you worked with it? I'm not talking about co-pilots, right? Co-pilots are more of a generative summarizing for any text, video, or images. I'm talking about agents, and that's what we are going to dive in further. So before we see how human and AI collaborate in the same ground, let's first understand what has been going on so far. So at first we have the rule-based system. In the rule-based system, it is more predetermined, and we know if we give the input X, we will receive Y, right? And after that came the predictive AI models. And these kind of models are usually used in the forecast analysis. That can be in business context, that can be in weather context, right? So we provide a lot of data that the models and the machine learning models compile and give you a forecast. Okay, maybe in next 2 days, the business will see a rise in sales, or in the next quarter, we will have this much of profit. Have you seen all of those lines on Shark Tank? Where do you think all of that comes from? That comes from the predictive AI models. But we have gone a step, well, 2 steps further in that. So we have next generative AI capabilities. This comprises of all of the co-pilots, the conversationalist LLMs that we use. Gemini, Anthropic, OpenAI, right? All of that. And we have almost mostly used that. Can I get a show of hands how many of here have built agents or worked with agents? Wow, that's a lot of them. This was not the scene when I was in my final year. Great. That means a lot of things that I'm going to say is really going to make sense for you. Now we are in the agentic AI area, right? So in agentic AI, we see a lot of agents for different purpose, right? Now, maybe in university level, we have all built all of those productivity agents that can maybe, do our projects or get some research done. But I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the agents that really get the enterprise level work going on, right? All of the CRM, all of the enterprise level HR applications, right? All of these work. So let's talk about generative AI and agentic AI and understand what is the difference, right? What is the need of building an agent after all? Generative AI is more of a reactive in nature. You give in a prompt, you get a response. But agentic AI is not as such. Maybe you don't need to give a prompt to get it triggered, okay? It can be scheduled, it can be triggered via webhook. Maybe you receive a message on WhatsApp and it gets triggered. Maybe you create a customer support ticket on Zendesk and it gets triggered. So there could be various triggers for agentic AI, right? We don't get triggered when we, as a human, when we are working, right? We don't get triggered when someone gives us the order. We see a problem, we feel the need to solve it, and we get on to solving it. And that's exactly the essence that agentic AI also captures. Now let's see why agentic AI changes the game. Has anyone here any sense of what is stateful and stateless? Can someone explain? One-liner? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Whatever frameworks we are using, so we are kind of doing the context engineering and passing the context of the whole conversation. It could be anything. So we're just passing the state or the context to that, so it can do the work properly, or it can give the response properly.
Right.
Yep.
Rightfully said. So stateless basically means that you have no memory. Every time you start a conversation, it starts from zero. Now that really becomes difficult when you're trying to solve any problem. Every time you cannot provide the context. Let's say you want to travel somewhere. Let's say you want to travel to Maldives and you want to travel next month, right? Now these are, let's say, just 2 parameters. Now every time while planning your trip, if you have to provide this context, okay, I'm going next month, I'm going to Maldives, I'm going next month, I'm going to Maldives, it gets repetitive and really boring on our side, right? So memory context becomes really important. Human context is something that agentic AI and technology as a whole has been really working on, so that it can set the right context. Because problems without the right context are just wrong problems to solve. And without context, there is just hallucinations, wrong responses, and a lot of errors. Okay. Next is goal-driven control mode. So unlike LLMs, whenever we have used, with each prompt we set the different goal. Now I personally have used a same conversation for generating email, for my projects, for doing research, or as my emotional buddy. Now you can't do that to an agent. An agent knows what to do. It knows its purpose, it knows its goal. If your agent is supposed to, let's say, solve customer support queries, so it will not solve your political alignment. It will not solve your HR policy request, right? It will only support those that have the same purpose as the agent. So in a way, you kind of confine the action area for the agent. Next is multi-step decision making. Now this is really where the agentic AI makes an impact. LLMs or machine learning models cannot plan, cannot reason, cannot decide and execute all at the same time. They can do all of it. I'm not saying no. They can do all of it individually. You'll have to train each models like that. But agentic AI, you get the full package. You get the agent to plan, you get the agent to reason, so that there is transparency and you can see agent's thoughts. Okay, this is what that agent is thinking. Then you get the execution, right? And finally, autonomous action execution. I'm pretty sure that whoever has built agents, or at least are familiar with the concepts, have heard the term autonomous agents. Have you? Let's see a show of hands. Alright, perfect. You have seen autonomous agents. Now, autonomous agents is exactly what defines the behavior of the agent. That the agent doesn't need a human superior to command, right? It can automatically take the actions, take the necessary steps, so that the human can just, supervise maybe from afar, or just not be involved in the context at all. But what do you think? Is autonomous really reliable? Let's say you had a finance team, right? And you need to release payments. Would you want your agent to release payments autonomously without checking whether it is in fact the vendor that you want to release payment to, or this is just someone who is perpetrating as someone else? Would you want to release your finances? No, you wouldn't trust any agent to do all of that autonomously, right? Otherwise, you might not know, some bad person can end up hiring, right? Without all of that verification. So in a way, autonomous is not reliable. It can be reliable in different contexts. When you have, let's say, just updating systems, syncing it to databases, it can be reliable at then. But taking critical decisions is where human supervision is at most important. So this is the example that I just said. So let's say you have the finance team and you need to release payments. Before you can release payments, the agent needs to get an approval from the human, and then when the human approves or denies, it takes the action. Now all of this, if it happened autonomously, this could cost us financially a huge sum, right? And we do not want that. Why are we doing business? We are doing business to make profit. We are doing business and we are doing it very consciously, so that we make as little mistakes as possible. And we just cannot hand out that trust to anything and everything. You wouldn't hire a stranger who doesn't know F of a finance to release or to calculate any finance calculations, right? So that is the difference. Now let's see what enterprises see while having the agents. Why do you think agent hyped? Can I get some reasons why do you think agent hyped? Especially in companies. It is because that the company saw potential that this agent can really reduce the human labor, can take the first year decisions that in a way could really change the whole game. As Sir also mentioned before in the keynote, is that you don't need a large team anymore. You can just have a team of, let's say, 10 people, but you can do work of a full enterprise, right? If those 10 people are supervising and having agents, you can just do it all. So finally, you can do it all in the market. Now, there are some 4 key points that they focus on. First is life cycle trust design, right? Companies use different tools, right? They can be using Workday. Let's say for HR operations, they can be using Workday. They can be using other HR tools. For CRM, they can be using Freshdesk. For inventory, they can be using Zoho and all of that, QuickBooks, right? So you do not expect the company to change overnight for just integrating an agent with the system. You want your agents to integrate with the tools that you use already. And that is what the enterprise also wants. You already have a database, you already are using certain kind of tools, and you want the agent to just sit on top of those tools and maneuver the whole network. Next is contextual decision making. Now, as I said, wrong context or missing context can lead to errors, can really cost enterprises a lot, right? So context is really important. The agent needs to know what it needs to do. The agent needs to know the past patterns, the historical data, the external databases that the companies has to take the right decision. Even we do, right? I cannot place you in a team overnight and expect you to take decisions. You would need the context. Okay, what has happened before? What are the patterns? What do you need to do to carry out these tasks? Similar way, agents also work in a similar manner. Next is policy and human oversight. Let's say you join a company. I just want to take a quick poll. How many are already working professionals or how many are students? Working professionals? Okay, good. And okay, rest are students. Great. So let's say you join a company, right? In maybe next 1 or 2 years, you will be joining a company. A company has a certain set of policies and rules that you need to abide by. You cannot go here and there, right? You cannot do apni man ki marzi. So you can't do all of that. You have to abide by certain rules, certain policies. Even when you are in the university or you are at home, you have to wake up at certain time. You have to submit your projects at certain time. These are the rules you abide by. So in the same manner, agentic AI also needs to abide by certain rules. It's like a train running on a track and it cannot derail. If it derails, the mistakes can really be huge and company business insights. And finally, we have the observability and continuous improvement. Now, this factor kind of comes in the later stages when your agents have been built. You really track the performance and the token consumption, and you see the kind of responses, whether the responses are in track with what a human would do in that place, right? So these come to the later stages, but these are equally important to see whether your agents are not consuming too much, not costing your business hugely, and they do the right stuff. So this is what happens inside the agent execution cycle, right? So this is from the user POV. We all know what POV stands for, right? Point of view. Okay, so this is the agent execution lifecycle. So once the user sends a prompt, first what is done is intent parsing. What intent parsing really means is, let's say you and I are having a conversation, you say something to me. The intent parsing is basically if I understand what you're asking for, or if I understand what you're saying. Let's say if you're saying in Greek, I wouldn't be able to understand because I don't have that capability, right? So in the same way, the agent understands the intent behind the user prompt, then it does the context retrieval. Okay, this is my context, this is what the agent is supposed to do, this is what has happened before, and in the similar manner, my thinking should be in that direction, right? Finally is the planning and tool selection. So this is where the multi-step decision-making process comes in, where the agent plans, okay, this is what I need to do, decides, okay, these are my options, and from here I choose, let's say, the second way of carrying out the task. Selects the tools, and finally the agent improves with execution and feedback. Right? With execution, this is where the observability and the continuous improvement also comes in. Now, feedback has a huge role to play in agentic AI when you're building agents. Even as humans, when you're doing a work for the first time, for the second time, for the, let's say, 10th time, you continuously receive feedback, right? Okay, this is how you could have done it better. So in the same way, the agents also need feedback to better their responses, better the way they act. So this is a quick enterprise agent, which is a loan approval agent. And as you can see, there's a whole process that an agent or a human would go through to approve a loan. So first, the trigger is detected when a customer wants to apply for a loan. And then on submission, the agent gets activated. And after that, there's the data ingestion, where basically it analyzes all of the bank statements. They analyze the credit points, whether the customer is at all eligible for a loan or not. And finally, OCR processing for all of the documents that they have submitted. That could be Aadhaar card, that could be a PAN card and all of that. And finally, analysis and verification. And after analysis and verification, there is the generate loan approval. Now, before approval, the final checks need to be done by a human to check if everything is all right. Now, what would you call this human intervention or human verification at the final step? This is called human in the loop, which we will understand in the next slides. Okay, just a quick survey. Is everything understandable so far? All right, perfect. So this is how an enterprise AI agent architecture looks like. There's a lot of elements, as you can see, is going on. That can be a little visually overwhelming, but no worries. We'll take it step by step. So first we have the agent, which acts as the orchestrator between the human and the tools and the LLMs that it has, right? So as you can see, for agent to give it its brain, agent kind of mimics us humans, okay? So we have a brain and agent has LLMs. Now, that LLM can be open source or proprietary models. Popularly used are OpenAI, Claude, Gemini. And next we have memory, right? We also have memory. So in a similar way, the agent also has memories. And the memory and the knowledge base, we will understand what knowledge bases are. But knowledge bases are essentially the external vast documents that a company might have to ground the agent response in actual facts. Now, as a human, we not only have brain, we also have hands. For any task that we need to do, let's say for doing a project or developing a server, we need hands to complete all of those tasks. Now, tools connect as the same way. In tools, we have different kinds of connectors. Now, you can connect anything and everything as a tool, provided that platform obviously allows. But you can connect anything and everything. That could be a database, an API, any of the third-party tools like Gmail, Workday, Zendesk, Google Meet, you name it, right? And there are also some inbuilt skills that we have. That obviously, like we blink our eyes, we take breath and all of that. So these are also the inbuilt skills. Now, all of this comes under the tools to accomplish any task, okay? Finally are the triggers. Now, if you come to me and start talking, that would be a trigger for me, right? Similarly, that would be a trigger for an agent too when you send it a prompt. When you send it a prompt via, let's say, chat, that agent can be embedded into websites via webhook. That agent can get triggered when you receive a WhatsApp message, or that agent can also get triggered whenever you create a ticket. Now, I'm just mentioning 4 of the triggers, but that can be a lot of triggers, right? And after that, finally comes the interface, which is what the user interacts with, right? We all know what interfaces are, I'm sure. So we have the chat UI, which is the most common kind of interfaces we have so far interacted with. And after that, we also have voice agents that are coming up. So voice agents would let you interact with the agent via voice. Now, since a lot of us are working remote, especially me, I would like to, visualize that, okay, I'm working with my employees so that I can interact in voice. And that's what I do even with OpenAI. So anyway, voice agents is like that. And then there could be interface in the internal tools, Slack teams, and embedded widgets. So these are the few kind of interfaces, and this whole, as a whole, kind of completes the AI agent architecture. Now within the AI orchestrator, you might also have seen the agent runtime, multi-agent coordination, which we call as multi-agent architecture as well. Then there are guardrails, observability, and traces. Since a lot of folks I could see that have worked with agents, can we get an idea what are traces? Do we know? Alright, so let me expand on it. So traces are the conversation threads. Okay, so like in WhatsApp, we have the conversation history. Okay, we said this, he said this, she said that, all of that. So that's the conversation thread we are talking about. That as a whole is grouped as traces. Okay. Now that we have seen the agent execution life cycle, let's understand the agent development life cycle. Since we are students of computer science and we will be technically going into building all of, on the builder side of things we will be. So let's understand how can we develop all of that. How does a life cycle look like overall? So first we have the plan phase, to plan what agents we are going to build, to plan what tools we might connect, to plan what are the instruction, what are the parameters and data. Okay. Next, we have the design. Design phase is where we design the agent. Now don't get me wrong, that could be writing the code. This is not just designing on the UI, right? But designing actually means how you would plan your agent. Before we start with any agent, even in corporate, we need to have a plan in mind, a figure in mind. Okay, this is how I want the whole process to grow, right? So this is where the design phase also comes in. Here we design the instruction, the tools, the different kind of integrations. And that is extended into also adding guardrails and memory, as you can see. You integrate it with necessary tools, knowledge bases, context, variables, and guardrails. And finally, when you have added all of these aspects in the agent, you also do a test to see whether the agent is giving you the desired response. If not, we fine-tune. We have all learned to fine-tune our agents or our LLMs. Fine-tuning is just, setting the extra context to set the way you want your agent to respond. That could be as simple as a tone to the right environment. Okay, I want the agent to behave in a certain kind of manner. And finally, when we go through all of this, and this kind of becomes a loop for feedback and execution, so that the agent is fine-tuned to the desired result you want. And finally, we have the release. And this release also kind of sometimes we have to roll back so that we can fine-tune it further. And we'll understand that in the later slides. So this is just a quick customer support agent. Now, we might have already been on the user side of customer support, sending back clothes to Myntra, sending back things on Amazon. I don't want this headphone is wrong, or something like that, right? We have all sent back. Now, we have been on the customer support side of things. I'm pretty sure that if you have carried the process out even once, then you might have talked to the customer support person on call, right? So that's what how the things kind of work out. Where the agent cannot continue execution anymore, that's where it brings in the human to take all of those critical decisions. Now let's say you want to send some item back and you want to return it. And the agent is unable to understand, okay, so this is what I need to, return or take into account. This has not been shipped. So what the agent does is, it calls in the human to understand the missing context or to understand the images or whatever, right? These things better so that the human can take a call on whether or not to carry out that action. Now we are coming more on the topic that I was supposed to speak on 10 minutes back. All right. So this is a pretty interesting topic. This states why agentic AI still needs human. Why human cannot just operate on its own. Okay. Navigating the loop. So at first, on this end, we have the more human control. Here is where we want the critical decisions to happen. Okay, we want agent to carry out their work process. Don't get me wrong, but we want the human to loop in to take those approvals, to make those approvals, to take the critical decision whether or not the agent should continue further. So at first, we have human in the loop. This means the human must approve before the agent can execute the final decision, before releasing payments, before hiring somebody new, right? So the human has to take the call whether or not the agent should go further. Now, it usually, as I said, comprises of all of the high-risk decisions where you do not want your agent to continue further, and here accuracy is more important than speed. Now, all of the tasks in the world do not need speed or accuracy. Sometimes they need both, but sometimes they need them individually. While we are releasing payments, that could be a task of 1 second, but that second can cost millions and millions of dollars or rupees, any kind of currency, right? So here, the human in the loop really becomes important. I have also set some examples. Let's say travel booking. You wouldn't want your agent to book just any flights. Maybe you want the premium. Maybe you want the business class. You don't want to travel in economy. So you don't want to make all of those mistakes and just end up with a non-refundable ticket. That would be a huge loss in your bank account, right? In the middle of the spectrum, we have human on the loop, where the human just supervises, more like a manager. It just supervises all of the tasks you do and only steps in when there is a requirement. Now it is different from human in the loop because the agent in a human in the loop, the agent voluntarily sends the for approval for all of the decision, for the execution. But in human on the loop, the agent can carry on. That's not a problem. But the human monitors and can intervene whenever the human feels necessary. Here the speed is important, of course, but still oversight could be a big mistake. Okay? Some examples are customer support responses, internal workflow automation, or monitoring AI reports. And finally, on this end of the loop, we have more autonomy, where we want our agent to just do its job and we do not want to intervene because the results are more predictable. Because whenever in the response there is an error, you can figure that out, right? So in there, you do not want the human involvement that much. So there is the human out of the loop. Here, the agent acts autonomously. This is truly, focused on those processes where the human oversight is not that big of a factor. Low risk task, right? Like data formatting or data syncing to the database, or even low risk background task that goes on within an enterprise. So this is the kind of spectrum that we see while we are building agents. Now your agent can be sitting anywhere in this spectrum. It can be here, it can be here, it can be there. It really depends on the kind of task you have at hand, what kind of critical decisions you need to make to carry out that task, and whether or not human side is going to cost you hugely or not. Okay. Finally, this is just a high-level understanding of where human involvement can practically be involved. Okay. So first we have training agents with data. Now, since you're computer science students, most of you, and a lot of working professionals as well, as I saw, so can you just give me a hint where the training agents with data really comes in? It's a course question. Would anyone try? It's okay if you don't. Probably, this is one of the most common kind of training is the supervised learning, or as we call it, active learning. We have all learned about supervised learning, right? So in supervised learning, we first provide the application or the agent, any system, with data that is already labeled, data that already has all of the information. And we train our systems on that data so that the agent knows what are the patterns, what are the data it is supposed to expect, and can take decisions further. Now this actually happens in the start while we are building agents. This can actually happen when you attach a knowledge base with it, right? Next is tuning with... Now let me ask, what is RLFH? Yes. Yes, absolutely, perfect. So yeah, that is reinforcement learning with human feedback. So I'm pretty sure we all know what is reinforcement learning. So the agent or the system gives you multiple responses, out of which you pick your preferred one, and from that feedback, from your feedback, the agent learns, okay, the user likes these kind of response, and further tunes the next responses accordingly, right? And this really becomes a huge part while you're executing your agent. It really comes into the final steps. And finally, we have the feedback and memory. Okay, so while in execution, there is obviously feedback when the user says, no, I don't want this, I want that. So the agent understands, okay, when this is the scenario, the customer supports the second kind of option. And then there is memory. Memory really plays a huge role. If you do not know yet, we as humans also have short-term memory and long-term memory, right? Even agents have that. Agents also have short-term memory and long-term memory. So, one sec. Okay, I'll just move to the next slide in a bit. But I would like to explain on memory a little bit more. So there's short-term memory and there's long-term memory. Does anyone in the room know what is a context window? Anyone? Sure.
Yeah, so basically in one pass, the maximum amount of token that the LLM can process as input token. So yeah, I mean, in summary, that's
Right. In terms of memory, context window is basically the number of messages the agent can pass through for formatting the response for the next conversation. So for example, you are planning a trip, okay? And in the start, you have mentioned where you want to go and when you want to go. Let's say Maldives next month, okay? And while the agent is in between building an itinerary, let's say it forgets where you need to go. And it says, oh, you want to go to Digha? No, obviously not. We were planning for Maldives, man. So that's where the memory comes in, right? So in the long-term memory, it stores the critical important decisions or the user preference. Now within the long-term memory, again, there is two segments of it. First, there is user preferences, where it stores the user-related details like username, their past response, their patterns. This is what makes your agent more personalized to you. If I'm operating the agent and I'm building the agent, so every time I say hi, it will say, hi Aharna, right? But if it did not have that user preference, it would say, hi there. So that's the difference. It is more personalized to you. It knows your name. It also knows your patterns. Let's say you like to set your meetings early in the morning. You don't like all of those late night meetings. So the agent can recognize that pattern, and every time it shows the other person some slot, it only shows you them the morning slot, so that you can have your meetings in your preferred time. That's what makes the agent more personalized, more context aware in you. Okay. Next, there is agent context. This is very agent specific again. So agent context really means, let's say you have one agent which has the customer support, you have one HR, you have one finance. Now you wouldn't obviously expect an finance team to have the context of a customer support team or an HR team, right? So team context is different, and that is exactly what agent context means in very simple terms. And finally, we have the short-term memory, where the context window really comes into play. A good way to escape the high costs of a context window, if the context window is really big, is to summarize past messages so that the agent can remember only things that are important and pass it in the next response. Okay, so as you can see, book me a flight to Paris, and I prefer window seats and vegetarian meals. So every time you plan your trip next, it is always going to show you the availability of window seats and what are the options in the vegetarian meals. And this is the kind of responses you would want from agentic AI and from humans as well. You wouldn't want to say, okay, I do not like chocolates to 10,000 people or 10,000 times to one people, right? So you would want that person to know, okay, this is not preferred by this user. And in the similar way, the agent works. All right. So let's take a look at human plus AI collaboration at every stage. Now I want you to brace yourselves, because the next slide would be really visually overwhelming. It was for me as well. But it is important to show you all at once, because you need to know whenever in the agent development lifecycle, where exactly the human can be involved. And this is kind of the showrunner of my presentation as well. All right, so there's a lot of things on the slides. Okay, so let's go. So we have the human and AI collaboration that can be happening at any and every stage, right? So at first we define the goals and requirements while in the building process. So the upper part of this defines what are the agent development process. You define goals, you train the agent, you build and integrate tools, and test, validate, deploy, and learn more, right? Okay, so let's understand wherever the human can be involved. So while we are setting goals and requirements or writing our instructions in the agent context, the humans need to do that. That is also providing context. That is also human involvement within the agentic AI systems. In the next, while we are training and tuning the agent, this is where the supervised learning, active learning comes in. Okay? This is where you attach your knowledge bases so that your agent responses can be grounded in facts and reality checks and not hallucinated data. When you're building and integrating tools, the human decide the tools and the knowledge sources and configurations. There are a lot of tools out there in the world. I can't even count it on my hands. Okay? But you do not use every tool at your job. You don't. You use only 5 specific tools. And that tool in itself provides some context to the agent. How the tool works, how the tool responds, and all of that information. Finally, when we are deploying and operating, this is also where the observability comes in, okay? This is where the human monitors, intervenes, and guides in real time. You run an agent. The agent is, consuming a lot of tokens. You wouldn't want that. You would want to optimize the token consumption. This is where the human also intervenes, fine-tunes the agent. Maybe there are a lot of tool calls that's happening, which is leading to high consumption of tokens. And finally is learn and improve, which is the human gives feedback, which is stored as patterns in the memory in the context of agent, right? And this is also a quick structure where the humans collaborate in the ways that humans collaborate. So we already learned about human in the loop, human on the loop, and human out of the loop. And then we had the feedback and memory, right? All the long-term, short-term memory. And finally, we also have the guardrails. So the guardrails also really, decide how your agent is going to work, okay? We have all built smaller applications when we are in university. But let's say that application, your simple calculator, is used by thousands of people. What kind of stress that puts your applications in, right? Now, having guardrails is very important so that your agent doesn't derail. Your customer support agent doesn't just start becoming, some politician and answering all of their political alignment, or it doesn't give you the weather forecast, right? Finally is the observability, where you basically log your agent actions and understand their matrices in order to improve. And finally is the tuning, so that when you rank your responses better, the agent learns how the user wants their responses and the actions carried out. And this is just a few paths and sections in the observability, how to debug and scale your agent work overloads. When we are building software at this point, we do not really think about whether or not this agent is going to work in scale. Whether or not if thousands of people, come to the website at the same time is going to be able to, use the website. We don't think of all of that. I'm pretty sure we have, at least once in a lifetime, have seen our server crash down. If anyone here is from WBUT, then they would know that every time our results come out on our website, the website immediately crashes down, right? So we wouldn't want that to happen, especially in the high demand markets. So which is why the observability really kicks in. We have few aspects like agent execution logs. We have tool call traces. What are the tools are being called with each conversation? Error monitoring, evals, and token usage and credit consumption. So these are some matrices that we keep in mind while we are building agents that can scale. Agents that can be used by real businesses and real markets. Okay. So do we have any questions? And you can ask your questions right now, or if you're very shy like me, you can also ask them to me separately when I'm maybe walking down, or connect with me on my LinkedIn. That's also very possible. So you can just talk with me about building agents. If you have any agent ideas, we can have that conversation, and how we can move further with tool calls, with different kind of matrices that you need to keep in mind, and also have humans and AI collaborate together so that you are not replaced. You replace somebody who doesn't know AI. That's the whole motive of this session. Thank you, everyone. You've been a lovely audience.
All right, thank you so much, Aharna, for that session. However, I would like to call you on stage again.
Yes. I'm so sorry, the mic wasn't working. Maybe it's because of the heat outside. Everybody's malfunctioning, so is the mic. Okay, that being said, that was a wonderful session. We were sitting right there, and we loved every minute of it. As usual, she is amazing. Everywhere I go, she's amazing. I'm captivated by all of hers, every session that she takes. Can we have a huge round of applause for her once again?
And for such a captivating session, we would like to provide her a token of our appreciation.
Yes.
And to do that, I would like to call one of the organizers, Sharmishta, to do so.
Thank you, Sharmishta. Thank you to our speaker. All right. So before we go straight into our next session, we have a very tight lineup of speakers coming right up. And before we dive right back into it, I'm Rishti. You don't know me yet because I am one of your hosts for the day, but election, the extreme heat outside, I was late. And we are all sufferers of that, aren't we? How many of us are suffering for the election and all of that and the heat for now? A lot of people. Everybody, pretty much. Yes, right. Okay, and we were sitting right here, and a lot of us were probably, we had our minds wandering into those topics today. So how many of us are going to remember actually what our speaker said today? Is that one hand?
Two,
oh yeah,
three,
that's
four.
a lot
Okay,
of.
we have quite a few people who will remember what is covered today. Even if they don't, I'm sure life will teach it to you.
Yes,
because there
and
is no there's no escaping agentic AI now.
Absolutely. And I brought up the topic of remembering because you know what? We are as good as what we remember, right?
Absolutely.
We go to all of these sessions and we learn so much. Every time I hear ma'am speak, I learn something absolutely amazing and absolutely new. But we are all as good as what we remember, right?
Exactly. And our next speaker is a little authority on the subject, I would say. He is a Google developer expert for AI, a celebrated author, and a mentor who has taught thousands of senior professionals how to cut through the AI hype.
Absolutely. And we are going to have him here to talk about how all the smartest agents in the world, even all the smartest AI agents that we have out there, are in fact as good as just their memories, as ma'am was also talking about. So he's going to show us how to give agents a virtual memory of their own, allowing them to manage their own histories without us having to, walk them through every step of it. And with that, please welcome on the stage the maestro of AI logic, Nikhilesh Dayal.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Nikhilesh Dayal. I'm from Udaipur. Mainly I teach AI. I like to interact a lot, so I'll come. So we'll talk about AI agents, but everyone talks about AI agents, right? So let's start with basics. What is an AI agent? How is it different from an LLM? Is ChatGPT an LLM or an AI agent? Correct. So is ChatGPT an LLM or an AI agent? How many people think it's an LLM? And how many people think it's an AI agent? Okay. So if you could recall, when ChatGPT was released in late 2022, if you would have asked, how is the weather in London, would you have got the answer or not? No. But today if you ask, how is the weather in London, will you get the answer or not? So what happened? What changed? Why you could not get the answer back then and why you can get the answer now? Access to tools. What is a tool?
So, a tool is a specialized, let's say, program or in form of any kind of language that basically a LLM can run it like its interactive cell, so that you get.
So in this case, which tool ChatGPT is accessing? In this case, to identify the weather.
So it is accessing some tool which is related to internet search.
Internet search, weather. How?
No, not
Real-time forecasting.
It's connected to weather forecasting websites like BBC.
Right. So earlier, LLMs used to work in isolation. Right? So if they would have known the answer, they would have provided, because there is a knowledge cutoff, so they don't know. So they have lots of knowledge, but not the entire knowledge of the world. So they'll provide, they would have provided, but now they can actually access an external application. They no longer work in isolation. So in this case, maybe it can access an internet search, a Google search, a weather app, and can get you the information. Right? Let me give you another example. So let's say you are planning a trip to Paris. Okay? Any LLM can give you 7-day itinerary for it. Right? But is that itinerary enough for you to plan your travel? So what else you want? Okay, that one. What else? So apart from itinerary, what exactly you want to plan your travel for Paris? Guide. Okay, so first let's say you want to understand how the weather is. If the weather is good, then only you want to plan. That's one. Second, you want to understand what are your hotel options within your budget. Right? Third, let's say you have some food preference. You are vegetarian or you like seafood and you want those food options near to your hotel, maybe within 500 distance, right? So now what you can do, you can create a multi-AI agentic system. So now the first agent will access a weather app based on your dates. It will check the weather. If the weather is good, it will pass the information to the second agent. Now second agent can actually access a website like Make My Trip, right? And based on your budget, it can shortlist few hotels, right? Let's say it shortlists 5 hotels. It will keep it in its memory, and then the third agent can access Google Map. And based on the food preference and based on the distance, then this system will actually create a complete travel plan, which is a job of a proper travel agent. Right? So LLMs, they generate content. AI agents, they work on your behalf. They get things done for you. And that's what agents do, right? You give them some agency, as in you give them some power. In this case, we are giving them tools. Now the thing is, it's not a workflow. You are not saying, okay, for hotel, you have to go to Make My Trip. For food, you just provide all the tools. AI agent actually thinks. So, AI agent is LLM plus reasoning. So first it thinks, okay, for this task, do I need to access an external application or not? If I need to access an external application, which external application should I use? Right? And then it also self-reflects. So earlier LLMs were designed for speed. So the moment you would have asked the question, if you have recalled, ChatGPT would have started the answer. But now if you see, you see the thinking. So they plan, if needed, they access external application, and at the same time they double check. And then they come up with the answer. Okay? So based on this understanding, let's do this exercise. So you need to tell me whether you need an AI agent or normal LLM can do this. Book the cheapest flight from Delhi to Dubai. You need an AI agent. Translate this paragraph from Hindi to English. LLM can do this. Give me 10 ideas for my Twitter post on AI. LLM can do this. Prepare a report of top AI research papers. No, but how LLM will know what are the top research papers? So you need an external application, right, where it can access. Write an email requesting leave in a polite tone. LLM can do this, right? Why you need an AI agent? And then send such a leave request and update my calendar accordingly. Why you need an AI agent? Because it has to access your calendar also, right? So now we understood, right? What is the difference between LLM and an AI agent? So let's see how to build a basic search agent. Okay? So now we are using this model Gemini 2.5 Flash. We asked who is the president of the US. The answer which we got is the current president of United States is Joe Biden. However, we wish this should be true, but it's actually not. So why we got the wrong answer? Because it's trained on old data. So there's knowledge cutoff. This change happened like last year, so it did not have this. So what can we do to change the answer or to make the answer correct? Give a search option, right? So let's do this. So now what we are doing? So we are giving SERP API, Google Search API key. We are using the same Gemini 2.5 Flash. We added tools, SERP API, and then we said, okay, we passed the tool, we passed the LLM, and then we said verbose equals to true. What is verbose equals to true? Exactly. So when ChatGPT shows or Gemini shows thinking, you don't know what exactly it's thinking. With verbose equals to true, you will get that what exactly it's thinking. So now let's see this. So now we asked who is the president of the US. So now see, can you see back? Okay, so it's saying, okay, I need to find out who the current president of the United States is. And for that, it has decided that action should be search. And what would be the action input, as in what would be the search keyword? Who is the president of the United States? So it accessed Google search, it searched with that, got some answer, but it was not sure. It was not sure, so it again decided, okay. So it said, okay, the search results mention President Trump, but I need to confirm if he is still the president. And then he decided, okay, let me search it again. So action is again search, but this time it has changed the action input. Now it's saying current president of the United States. Right? And with that, it got the answer and it thought, okay, the search results indicate that Donald Trump is the current president of the United States. Final answer is Donald Trump. And then it gave the answer, Donald Trump. So this is how an AI agent works. Right? But now let's talk about memory. Now, why do we need memory for AI agents? Why humans need memory? Yeah, to remember, but why we want to remember things? Can you have a conversation with someone who doesn't remember anything? Like this. So, user came, said, okay, hi, my name is Andrew. LLM's AI agent said, okay, hello Andrew, it's nice to meet you. My name is AI. How can I assist you today? Then user asked some random question. What is 1 plus 1? It said, okay, 2. And then user asked, what is my name? LLM said, I am sorry, I don't have access to that information. Short-term memory loss. Ghazni. Can you have a conversation with person who doesn't remember anything? So then, how will we converse, right? But so you want AI agents to remember things, right? But AI agents or LLMs, they do not have any memory. Implicit, like they don't have any no short term, no long term, no memory. Even Ghazni has 15 seconds of memory. LLMs don't have zero memory, right? So we have to handle this memory explicitly outside, because LLMs are like what? Big machines, like pre-trained machines. They just predict the next word. That's it. Right? Now, they don't have any memory. We have to manage because now memory is important. So how do we manage memory for conversations? Right. So one way is send the conversation back to the model. Okay. So now if you see here what we have done, so we have built the memory using LangChain, which is conversation buffer memory. Right. And then when we are passing this thing, we have also specified memory. Now if you see, hi, my name is Andrew. Then we said, what is 1 plus 1? And in the end, if I ask, what is my name? It said, your name is Andrew, as you mentioned earlier. So now, agent has memory. But why? Because earlier case, so what we have done, we have sent the entire conversation back to the memory, back to the model. So model or the agent always has the previous context. Right? So now, it's not just what is my name which is going. It's the entire conversation which is going back to the model. Right? So we are managing this short-term memory. Right? We are sending the conversation back to the memory, back to the model, and it always has the context and it can give you. Okay? Now, in case of AI agent, if we don't have memory, so basically we have this medical AI agent. You asked, how can I treat a sprained ankle? It accessed a medical website, got you the answer, and then the next question which we asked is, what meds could I take? Now these meds should be related to sprained ankle. But see what it has actually assumed. It has assumed action input, medications for common illness. Because it did not have the previous context, it assumed, right? So what we can do, we can actually send the conversation back to the model using LangChain. What is LangChain, by the way? It's a basically it's an open source framework to build generative AI applications and AI agents. So now we can see we have used memory through LangChain, conversation buffer window memory. K equals to 2 means 2 previous conversations will be sent. You can add any number. And then we have added memory here. And then while we write in the prompt, you can see second this thing, previous conversation history, we are passing the history back to the model. And then if you ask, how can I treat a sprained ankle? It gave the answer. And now if I ask what meds could I take for it, now you can see the action input it has decided is medication for sprained ankle. So now it knows the context because we are sending the previous thing back. And even if you ask a follow-up question, how long will it take to heal? Again, it has the action input it has decided is sprained ankle healing time. Right? So this is one way to manage memory for conversation. So conversation is one thing, but what else? Why memory is needed other than conversation?
For efficiency.
Efficiency of for what?
Like if we want to improve the output continuously.
So how memory will improve the efficiency?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. So efficiency in the sense like we can ask the model to improve our outputs by giving certain instructions so that we get a better result in the outputs.
That's prompt, right? That's prompt engineering. That's not memory, right?
Yeah, you asked what is the context of using memory. So it can give you a good efficiency of your output, and so that
You're partially right. What else? Why? So basically for conversation we need memory. We can't have conversation without memory. What else?
For iterative development.
Sorry.
For iterative development of the given agentic tools, given a particular task, the agentic system, if it has a memory, then previous attempt and the previous results are already in the context. And given a particular to-do list, it can follow up the whole sequence of actions that it needs to follow while also doing iterative development.
That's task memory.
Task memory,
right.
Yes.
Right. No, that's also. But so there are multiple forms of energy memory. We'll talk about it. One is personalization. So do you think ChatGPT gives you or Gemini gives you personalized answers? How? So have you seen this thing in ChatGPT? There is a tab called personalization. Yeah, so it has stored. But have you asked ChatGPT to store, or have you asked store this thing about me? Sometimes yes, but most of the people, ChatGPT has on its own realized that this thing is important. Let me store or memorize this thing on this person's behalf.
It also notifies the user
Added to memory, yeah. Right? So this is known as self-editing memory. What is self-editing memory? So let's say you are here today in this conference and you meet a person and that person tells you that I work in, let's say, Microsoft. Okay? Now next year you again come to this conference, you again meet this person and this person now says, I no longer work with Microsoft, I work with Google. Now your memory automatically gets updated. You don't have to do update memory enter, right? And this thing. So we are blessed with this, right? That we have this self-editing memory feature inbuilt. So we automatically updates, the memory automatically gets updated, right? But AI agents are somehow not blessed with this feature. So we have to manage this thing so that they can self-edit their memory. they realize which information is important, and then they manage their own memory. Can they do it? Obviously, I'm talking, so they can do it. But yeah, how they'll do it? How can they do it?
So what happens that given a particular user profile, the user has already had a lot of logs of the chats. For each chat, the LLM can use the agentic tool to decide a compression of the chat to extract out the important points, and there is a, let's say, profile name _memory.md file, or in some cases, if it's a heartbeat, then it will be soul.md. That will be stored, and that contains all the information of the user for that profile.
Correct. So first we need memory for conversation. Second, we need memory for personalization, right? How a mother provides personalized care because she has memory, right, of the child. Again and again, she knows that what my child likes, what my child does not like. So that's how. So AI agent, if again and again, if you provide, they'll become personalized, right, to you. Okay. So agent memory. So I think we know what agent memory is. Basically, to store, organize, retrieve, and reuse information. That's what agentic memory is. So there are multiple forms of memory. Conversational memory we understood, right? Then we have personalized memory. We'll talk about more in detail. Then we have task memory. What is task memory? So this gentleman already said, what is task memory? So AI agent is deciding, right, which task, how this particular task should be done. So for example, for this, to get the latest information on current president of US, I should access Google search, right? So now, again and again, it's when it decides, it hampers your latency, right? So once that task is done, you store it in the memory. So every time it doesn't have to decide, right? And then you have shared memory. If you create multiple AI agents, you can create a memory pool which all other agents can access. Okay. So now, can AI agent manage its own memory like we do? So we have this something called MEM-GPT, MEM0. So these have developed these things so that AI agents can manage their own memory. MEM-GPT is open sourced. Okay, so now how this thing works. So user comes, says, okay, hello, I just got a message. Do I know anything about who sent it? So it searched memory, and then AI agent realized, okay, this person must be Sarah, and today is her birthday. That information also the agent got. So then it responded, hi Sarah, it's good to see you again. Hope you are having a great birthday, right? But the user said, no, my name is not Sarah, my name is Charles. So then agent said, okay, let me, edit this. My memory must be faulty. So it called this function memory _replace. It replaced the name Charles with Sarah and then replied, sorry, Charles. No human intervention required. It realized, okay, this is an important information. I should amend. I should call a tool, edit this information and provide the answer. Okay. So what we are talking about here is we are providing a space. It could be a .md file, or it could be a file, or it could be a database where agent can store important information about the user. And then that MD file or that database actually becomes like a tool which it can access. Right? So it can access that database, it can access it as well as it can edit it. Right? So you have a system prompt, you have chat history, at the same time you are providing something called core memory where it's storing important information about you, like your name, your date of birth, your your company name, your designation, your address, right? And if certain things change, they actually can call a function and edit those things. That's how. Okay, so if you have, now let's see how we can build an AI agent. So now what we are saying, we are using this model GPT-4o mini, and the first thing which I asked, what is my name? Agent said, I am sorry, I don't have access to personal information. So what I did, I created a tool, core memory save, and I say, okay, save important information about you by calling this function. And then I also gave a space where it can actually store the memory. Okay. Now I hard coded that my name is Virat, and you can see at the bottom right, the AI agent has stored that the user's name is Virat. Okay. But the user came and said, my name is Shubhman. You can see model has called a tool, replace the value. Now the memory stores the human's name is Shubhman, and then it said, got it Shubhman, how can I assist you today? So nothing, like no human in the loop. It has actually edited its memory, adapted, and gave the answer. Latency could be there, but no human intelligence. So you are not saying that, okay, human is not involved here. Self-editing. AI agent is managing its memory on its own. Right? Like we humans do, right? So the moment I said, I no longer work with Microsoft, I work with Google, no intervention is required, right? You automatically, your brain changes that memory. Yeah, so that's it. Any questions? I'm happy to connect on LinkedIn. Any questions related to AI agents, memory? Yeah.
There was a recent paper just 2 weeks ago by Yuan 3.0. So they introduced a new method where they update the model weights on the fly during inference. So yes, and they also showcased that it can be used to embed information into the model while it's already doing the inference. I would like to have economics of scale overview from you on this.
See, even if model updates its weight, still there would be lots of other information which you will not be able to update, right? So there are lots of, because the model has to model has to be exposed to that information, right? Then only it can actually update the weight. So I think this is a good progress, but still we need all these like agentic AI, memory, those kind of things. So this is.
On the same point, then last year, 26 December, DeepSeek's paper on Ngram, they introduced memory, just like LSTM, they also introduced memory architecture inside the attention mechanism. So, have you tried it? With any?
No, I am not aware of that.
Okay.
Any more questions?
So yeah, I was recently going through a lot of discussion of like Karpathy was talking about auto research. So the project, something he had built. So where essentially it's like he talks more about continual learning, right? We just like humans, we every day learn some new things and update our memory and more towards like updating the weight. So how do you think, like currently what I've seen in the market, it's pretty more like, okay, you have a graph rag or you have a vector database, and then you are just getting that context, and it's just a a good proper and a very good wrapper of rag plus graph rag and this kind of approach. So I feel the latency part is very high if you are going in a very complex discussion. So I mean, what I would love to know, like what your thoughts on this, like in terms of continual learning, how should we proceed on that?
So I think so what you are saying is that should we? So my thought on what I think about continual learning. That's what I think. That's what. Yeah. See, so this is a problem with LLM, right? And we have to solve this problem because LLM so they have a knowledge cutoff. The moment there is a knowledge cutoff, and world is creating so much information on a daily basis, right? So we need to have the next level of LLM that where they should continually learn. So my thought is obviously, so that has to be like what I say, the next logical progression for LLM.
Yeah, so primarily in the auto research part, what he did, like he had a markdown file, and continuously, however the discussions are going out based on the logs, essentially, it is updating, right? A bit more like a trivial way of doing RLHF, right? So do you think like instead of we will move from this traditional vector database approach to more like having a local markdown file, which essentially lets understand better?
We will move from that. Yeah, because that's the need of the hour.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Any more questions? No more? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. I hope it was worth your time. Thanks.
Can we once again have a huge round of applause for our speaker? And with that, we would love to call our speaker back up on the stage to be felicitated by one of our organizers,
Akash Majumdar.
Yes,
Please come on stage to felicitate Nikhilesh.
He's one of our organizers from GDG Kolkata.
Round of applause, everyone. So how did everyone like that session? For everyone who has learned a little bit something about how to define an agent's memory, please raise your hands. Okay, that's good to know. Everyone was really attentive, that means.
Yes, and which also means that, as Sir was saying, he was talking about memories and all. Yeah. I think when we are working with, or even like having a conversation with an AI agent, we look into two things very, with a lot of focus. That is memory. If it doesn't remember my name, I don't want it. And secondly, insights. If it doesn't understand from my tone of conversation whether I'm about to have a breakdown or not, I don't want it either.
I think more important would be the context, because AI does not have emotions and neither does its LLMs.
Exactly. And that is exactly what we look into, the builders look into while making an AI model. And from the memory, we are traveling into the insights part of it. And for that, we have someone here with us who is a winner of the Google Cloud Console build and a business analyst who turns raw data into absolute gold.
So if you have ever struggled to explain any kind of complex SQL results to an executive, this session is probably the one for you. So he's going to show you how Gemini can act as a reasoning engine to bridge the gap between raw data and powerful storytelling. So let's hear it for the visionary, Rohan Giri.
Please welcome him on stage with a huge round of applause.
A small change of events.
I mean, yeah, that is what keeps happening. When you have a huge lineup, when you have lots of speakers and all, you will have small changes here and there. It's part of it, but we are not going to disappoint you here at Build with AI. So while our next speaker comes up here, how many of us are slightly sleepy? Like you woke up very early in the morning and you're still sleepy?
Do not answer that question. To the one person who raised their hands, please put it down. I hope you have come with a lot of energy here today to join us at this Build with AI conference. So would anyone like to share their experience as to how they're liking the session now? I'm going to pick someone from the audience because I can do that.
And I'll try to protect the audience by calling my co-host back here.
Absolutely not.
Please come back here.
Good cop, bad cop.
Oh, no.
Good cop, bad cop.
No. We are not playing whose favorite parent is who.
Okay. Please share your experience with us.
Okay, wonderful session, and thanks for hosting. You guys have a very good hosting skills. Like the transition from one event to another event, perfect. And about speakers, they are way more experienced than I am. And yes, I'm here to learn a lot of things. Though I'm coming from Kalyani, okay, Isaac, Kolkata, that's in Kalyani, so long travels. That's why I just raised my hand because I was sleepy.
No, like you're allowed to be sometimes, but let's hope that once the speakers are on stage, nobody feels sleepy at all.
Once they are up on stage, of course, I'm not sleepy then.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's the spirit, and let's keep that spirit up, shall we? I'm so sorry to you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your experience and what you have felt about this conference till now. And because of the change of events, we have a few other people who are willing to share their industry secrets with you.
Absolutely. And they also have wonderful introductions that we are going to present to you for now. And we will have here with us for our next session someone who is a social innovator, a literal TEDx speaker, and a Google developer expert for payments who currently leads product at AirPlay. That's insane. How do you be a GDG and a TEDx speaker? Like what?
Not only that, you were probably expecting one session, maybe a solo session. So we have someone else who will also join this very special someone. So this other powerhouse that I'm talking about is a Google developer expert for Firebase and works at Adepar with a deep history in building scalable fintech and health tech solutions.
And the man that I'm introducing is someone with patents to his name and an absolute passion for building things that actually impact the community, understandably. And he's going to show us exactly how to turn a great idea into a revenue-generating machine by embedding seamless subscriptions and payment flows into our apps.
The woman I'm talking about is here to show you how to stop the manual grind. If you want to know how to let Firebase do half the work for you, in fact, all the work for you, from processing payments to deploying AI, you should probably listen closely. So let's please welcome the duo
Amen Ekar
and Shrishti Raibhog.
Can we have a huge round of applause to them?
मतलब he will first present and then she will join it.
Okay.
Hi everyone. Hello. Yeah, so in the meantime we are having a setup, so I'll just quickly introduce myself. So I am Ameya, I am currently Google Developer Expert, and so today I'll be talking about how we can simply turn any idea into a revenue generating thing. So it will be using Firebase. How many of you have already worked on Firebase or knows about it? Okay, a lot of hands. Good to see. So today we will be looking how we can turn any idea into, for example, into the e-commerce or payment gateway integration, everything with the help of Firebase. Just a second, I'll just mirror my display. Yeah. So we'll be seeing in this session we will be checking more how we can implement Firebase extensions and how we can simply set up things without any code, like literally no code, and we can simply start payment gateway integration. So how many of you have already integrated payment gateway into the systems, or tried to, or thought of? Okay. And how many of you want to launch some of your own idea and start collecting payments? Okay, some more hands. So in this workshop we will see, or in this session we will see how quickly we can launch any e-commerce platform and simply start integrating payment collection journey. So when we talk about payment gateway integration, there are a lot of hassles, like you need to set up a dedicated server, you need to take care of all the compliances, and a lot of things come into the mind, and you need to collect the user data, you need to have that backend inventory where you will be doing that inventory management things. You will have to set up the front end for customers where you will be collecting the payments, or else you, and these all things will come into the picture even after you integrate or type with any payment gateway. For example, Razorpay or PayU or JustPay. Even after that, you will have to take care of inventory management and all of these things we talk about. So what happens with Firebase extensions? You simply don't have to work on any of these things. This is really plug and play solution where you just have to enable the extension and all of the things will be good to go. So we'll just quickly see that. The next workshop, the next session to this will be a workshop where Srushti will be teaching you how to enable extensions. So payment gateway integration will take a lot of time. So we'll just seeing the simple extension, how you can actually integrate the extensions in your Firebase. So in this session, we will check with Firebase extensions. We will be checking how authentication works in Firebase, how database is there, how payment collection we will be working, and the security aspect for the same. Okay, so starting with, we will need a few things. Almost everyone has these things. So all of us are having Google account, which will be mandatory to set up any Firebase project or log into the Firebase console. The another thing will be Stripe account. The Stripe, how many of you have heard about Stripe? Stripe is a payment gateway. A lot of hands, I'm actually surprised. So Stripe is a payment gateway, not that active in India, but it is very famous globally. So unfortunately, Stripe is yet to start accepting UPI payments, but the rest all of the methods Stripe is already supporting. They're working on integrating UPI payments for the payment collection very actively. So Stripe is a global leading payment gateway, so we will need account on stripe.com. We'll need to create a Firebase project and Chrome browser. I'm myself using Safari, but Chrome is recommended for a better performance of Firebase. So the better thing, everything will be free. We don't have to invest a single penny to integrate or a server cost or anything. So we'll be talking how much scale we can do with this particular thing in a free tier. So to start with, this is some of the timelines which I feel which works in most of the workshops, and people are good to go to launch their payment gateway in around 1 hour to 1.5 hours. So this is creating a Firebase setup. So we'll be seeing this in detail in the workshop. So we just have to go to the console and we have to add project. We can give it any name. And once the project is set up, we have to upgrade to the Blaze plan. So in the workshop, we'll actually see how we can upgrade to the plan. We will give you some free credits and you can actually try that. So as per my experience, if you are having millions of user base or millions of payments you are collecting from your system, till you are not going to hit the particular free tier or your billing won't start. Usually after that, for 1 million tokens, you will be charged around 1 USD. So 100 rupees for 1 million payment collection is not a big cost we feel for no code integration, because almost 100 rupees per 1 million users is not a big deal. So actually it's 2 million as per Firebase documentation, but I am considering 1 million because to be on a safer side. So, okay. So first thing we will have to do is enable the Firebase authentication. To collect any kind of payments, we need to enable authentication. The simple reason being because of all the guidelines, or being owner of any startup or setting up that e-commerce platform, we need to be aware who is coming to pay that particular thing. So it can be via SSO or it can be simply via Firebase. We can just simply turn on the authentication modes. There are different authentication ways like Google sign up or OTP or mail sign up. A lot of different ways are available. And very interestingly, recently, like a month or 2 months ago, Firebase has recently launched phone verification as well. So the thing which Firebase was lagging was they were able to provide us with Google sign up button. They were able to help us with the email sign up, like triggering OTP to our email IDs. But they were lagging that phone verification, which is the most popular way of verification, at least in India. Like we just get that OTP and we enter the OTP and we are good to enter the website. So that particular thing was lagging on Firebase, but since that is also enabled, you can actually do end-to-end journey with Firebase with this particular flow now. Now we again have to set up a database. So why database? Because there will be a lot of customer data, product data, and all the kind of data which we will be storing in this. We just have to set up the database. We don't have to create any tables or collections, anything at this particular stage. We will be just creating the database as it is, and rest all of that magic will be taken care by extension. So the only thing which we have to keep in mind is whenever we are setting up any extension, we have to make sure that we are setting up database and extension in the same server. For example, we are setting up extension in Latin America server for the example, and we are setting up database in Indian subcontinent. Now what happens when two database and extension are set up in a different region? It's not possible for them to communicate with each other. So that's the main reason we will be setting up database and extension in the same region. And that region can be anything. In India, we recommend usually in Indian region because of regulatory compliance. Okay, then we will go to the extensions tab. We will just simply install the extension. We will see something like this. While we are trying to install the extension, we just have to hit the install button, and we will be good to go. Now, when we already saw we have created the database, in that database there will be multiple tables or collections which will be pre-populated now. So whenever we are installing extension will be taking care of creating collections for you on our behalf. Like it will be creating collections for products and customers. So products in the sense we will be adding some products on the platform. So we don't have to set up any inventory management tool here. On Stripe console, we will be getting all the options to add the products as well. So Stripe will be working as our inventory management tool, and Firebase will be working as our authentication and customer management tool. So the one collection will be saved for products and another will be for customers. And all the data which we are having will be auto-added to that. Both the collections will be interlinked. They will be interacting with each other. We don't need to link any of the databases, or we don't need to write any of the code to link these particular collections. When we are talking about webhooks to sync the data between Stripe and Firebase, that webhook will also, we can simply enter the webhook key from Stripe console and all that data will also start flowing automatically. We don't have to do anything for that. And we will be just syncing the configurations. So this is most of the things how we will be setting up all the extensions. Now we can start with actually trying to build the things up, and we can show you the demo. So Srushti can actually start showing you the demo, so where we can actually try getting more hands-on experience. I'll be there around to help you guys to set the things up and do the tough part. So yeah. So this was more about Firebase extensions and how we can plug with that. So now Srushti will be explaining you how we can actually set up the extensions. So how many of you are actually having laptops here? Okay, I can see a lot of hands. So you guys can actually try installing the extension and you can actually do this thing with her. So we will be also giving you a QR code to claim your free credits. All of you can claim the credits right away. All of you can claim the credits right away, and after that you can try this thing at your after going your home as well, and rest of us can actually start building with her, and we can We can have some actually output at the end of the workshop. Yeah, over to you, Srishti.
Okay. So we heard about Firebase extensions, what they can do for us. We also saw what precautions we need to take while developing application with Firebase extensions. How many of you are now ready to actually build something? No one is ready? Okay. You guys have your laptops, right? Okay. Connect your laptops with your own hotspot. If Wi-Fi is available, connect with your Wi-Fi. So the prerequisite for this workshop is we need Node, NPM, React, Git CLI. Basically, your Git should be set up on your local machines, Google account, and Chrome browser, as Amar had mentioned. And what are we going to cover in this workshop overall is we are going to cover Firebase extensions. Then we are going to cover cloud functions. So what are cloud functions? Ever heard about lambdas or cloud functions? So basically, if there is any code that you don't want to call through APIs or you directly want to call a function, rather than having it on your own local machines or your own browsers, you can host it somewhere and directly call those functions. So most of the extensions, what they do, they are the combinations of these cloud functions. And these cloud functions are then stored on Firebase. We later on see how these cloud functions work. And they run on some triggers. For example, if I say, like anything updates in my database on this particular path, then trigger something. So that is how cloud functions will work. Then we are going to cover authentication, multimedia storage, and also explore Firebase database, and hosting if time permits. So scan this QR. This is the link to the doc that I'm going to share. The doc has like all the commands. If you lag behind, if you miss something, there are videos attached which you can refer. This is basically the same PPT that I'm sharing. So on the later slides, you have the code link, the repository link, and the commands as well. I hope everyone is able to scan and access the doc. So for using extensions, we need a base plan of Firebase, and we are giving you free cloud credits. To redeem that, you need to scan this QR, or you can if you have the doc access, you can directly open the link. I'll guide you through how we can scan the QR. If anyone faces any issues, do raise your hands. I and Amar will assist you. So once you open the link, this is how the interface will look. If you are not signed in, you will have a sign-in option over here. I would suggest that you use the email ID which you are going to use for your Firebase project. Not suggest, but compulsory use the same email ID. If you have multiple accounts, you can change your account from this select. You will be redirected over here, and then you have to click here to access the credits. So you will be navigated to your GCP account. If you don't have a Google Cloud Platform account, you will be redirected to create one. It's pretty simple. You just need to create your account. Don't change anything, the coupon code or anything. Don't edit anything, and just say accept and continue. Anyone who was facing to redeem? Any issues while redemption? How many of you were successfully able to redeem? Okay, a few hands. Anyone facing any issues? I'm sharing the QR again. If the link does not work, try refreshing or opening it into incognito mode.
I'll wait for like a couple of more minutes until everyone is able to redeem. Because without the Google Cloud credits, you won't be able to upgrade to a Blaze plan and use the extensions. Okay. Everyone were able to redeem the Google Cloud credits? Okay. Anyone facing any issues? Just raise your hand. Someone will assist you. Okay. If you don't let me know your errors or facing any issues, you might lag behind. That's why just raise your hand. We will come and help you out. Okay. So the extension, I'm referring to a code lab. This is a code lab QR or link. You can just open it up in your tab and refer if you lag behind or if you fall back. So this is a repository link that you need to clone. So open this repository. All these QRs and links are in the doc that I had shared earlier. So you can also refer it through the PPT document directly. So you will be basically, this is the repository, and to clone you need to copy this URL, and in your local machine, in your terminal or VS Code or whichever ID you work on, you know, I hope everyone knows the git clone command, right? So git clone and the repository link. Okay, I'll show you how the entire application looks like. So basically we have a chatbot. We are going to, use a chatbot extension and a multimedia extension. So if you see, if this is the entire conversation that I had, and I did not write the code for chatbot. I did not build the chatbot, nothing. I just built a simple website and I plugged the chatbot and I have a ready-made application. For multimedia also, if I just... So you see, I just put up an image and the entire description for the image is given to me. So similar, I did not write any image processing or any chatbot or any conversational AI. I had the extensions ready and I just plugged it into my Firebase project and the entire output is over here for me. So this is very simple. Imagine if you have your, like he mentioned, for payment processing, if you have the entire data ready and you build a chatbot, you use this chatbot application extension and you ask your application related questions like how many transactions were there daily, which user is the most transacting user. So in those cases, you don't have to write your own AI chatbot. Okay, I hope you are able to clone the repository. How many you have successfully cloned it? Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so in your wherever you are using your whichever ID, for example, I'm using VS Code. In your terminal, just type npm install. I hope it's visible at the back. The code is visible at the back. So basically, npm install will install all the required packages that are needed to run this application. By the time this is getting installed and set up, I hope everyone has redeemed the cloud credits, right? Did anyone face any issues? Okay, I'll consider this as yes and go ahead. Okay. So next thing, we are going to start building a Firebase project. in any new tab, just type Firebase console. And so open up your Firebase console. How many of you have built Firebase projects before? Okay, few hands. Okay, so you might already have a console which looks like this. For someone who is new, you open any random tab and type Firebase console. This is where you'll be redirected. Now create a new project. Okay, make sure you're using the email ID that you had redeemed the credits with. So create a new project. Project name, you can give any name that you want. For example, let's say I'm giving for workshop. Click continue. Keep this option enabled. Disable the Google Analytics. And then create project. So this takes like a couple of minutes until the entire project is being set up. You have the reference video in the document as well. So if you face any issues, you can refer the document videos. Okay. So this is your project's landing page. If you see, I have one app already developed, but we are going to link one application to this particular project. So one Firebase project can have multiple apps, like a web app, an Android app, an iOS app, even Unity. If you are in game development, you know what Unity is, and you can use Firebase for that as well. So if you see authentication, I already have one user who has signed up, and I was earlier telling you about cloud functions. So, yeah. So these are the two extensions that we'll be working on. One is the chatbot extension and then the multimodal task extension. Now both these extensions have the cloud functions. And if the cloud functions, basically some functionality saying that, okay, there is a trigger written over here. So anything that updates in this particular database path, my cloud function is going to run. So if I say a message, hi, it is going to update in this particular database path, and then the chatbot or my extension is going to read that message and reply to it. Okay. So let's set up. Over here, on your home page of your Firebase, click Add App, then select a web application. You can name your web application whatever you want. So we'll say chatbot. And register your app. So when you're registering your app, you're basically saying that this particular Firebase, any service that this Firebase project has is going to be accessible to my web application. Okay. So these are the credentials that you will require later on. Don't use my credentials. You will have your own credentials on your Firebase projects. Okay. How many of you were able to do until here? Okay. How many of you are still working and facing, is anyone facing any issues? Okay. Okay. Registered your web application in Firebase. Now we'll enable this different type of services before we set up, like before we link our code and the backend. So imagine this project is your backend. Everything that you will need in a backend is this project entirely. So we need to set up few things. This is fine. Is this visible at the back? Okay, great. Okay. So first we'll set up the authentication. Any websites, any backend needs authentication, right? The first thing you need to do is you don't want any random users using your data, any random users accessing your application. So in authentication, you have sign-in methods. So since Google is already enabled for me, but most of you will directly have this particular interface. So select Google over there. Okay. If you are not able to find, it is under Security tab. You have Authentication. Select Get Started. Google. Enable the Google option. You need to provide a support email, which is usually your default email, whichever project your Firebase email ID project is using. And then click Save. So this is basically saying that I can use whichever apps or whichever websites are linked with this project, I can use Google sign-in directly on that particular applications. There are other sign-in methods like you have normal email ID and passwords. You have your Apple, you have your GitHub, you have other email IDs that you can directly use. So if you have, most of the sites have sign in with Google options. So this is how you can directly use it. You don't need to write any code over here. Now the second service that we'll be enabling is we'll start downloading the extensions because it takes some time. Under hosting and serverless, you have an extensions option. So go to extensions. So this is the extensions page where you can see there are different type of extensions, not just chatbots or simple data, but you have your email trigger for Firestore. You have your, he had mentioned the Stripe extension, right? So if you search over here, so this was the extension that Amma was explaining earlier, and you can just install the extensions and use it. But you need a Stripe account and all. So we'll start with simple chatbot extension. So search chatbot and you have this build chatbot with Gemini API. Select this and install in Firebase console. Select the project. If you have a different email ID, change it from here. Select the project that you had earlier created. Okay, so now you see this upgrade project to continue, right? So for that we need to upgrade our, right now all are on Spark plan, which is a free tier plan, but we need to upgrade to Blaze plan. To that, click on this and you will have an option if you are using the same. So you have these two options. Then select the Blaze plan. Over here you will see the two or one. Earlier you had redeemed the Google Cloud credits, right? You will see the account name as Google Cloud Platform Trial account. Select that. You can skip this. You don't need to add any amount. It's already present. You have like around $5. And then you need to link your Google Cloud billing account. So once you're linked, you will see a Blaze tag on your Firebase project. How many were able to upgrade your plan? Okay. How many are still trying and working on the upgradation? Okay. We'll wait like a couple of minutes. Anyone facing any errors? If you're facing, try to refresh your projects or try opening your project in incognito mode. I'll play the video if anyone is still facing any issues. So the reference videos are there in the document. If you lag behind or facing any issues, errors, you can refer to the videos present in the document. And now how many were able to upgrade to the Blaze plan? Use the same email ID that you had used for the redemption, because then only you will see this option. So these two, this particular billing account will be only enabled if you have the same email ID, because that's linked to your GCP account, which is a cloud platform. Okay, I hope we are upgraded and we'll move ahead. We'll start installing the extensions because that takes some time. Okay. So once you say install this extension, select the same project that you have upgraded your plan to. Select next. Over here you see that what exactly the extension is doing. It is using the Vertex AI APIs. It has cloud functions. Then it is using some of the Gemini Google Cloud keys. Now these are the permissions that you need to give. So enable all the permissions. You need to grant access, read and write database access to the extensions. That is what they are going to ask over here. Then select next. Again, here you will see if there is anything, if it is asking you permissions, enable it or grant it. Right now, since I have already given it access to a project, it won't ask me any further permissions. Now, this is an important step. We need to change few things over here. So, since we are going to be in a developer mode, we'll change the Google API to Vertex AI. Now the cloud function location, select the US Central, the first option. Please be mindful of the location because your database is going to be stored in this particular location. Like Amar had mentioned earlier, if two different services are in different location, they won't communicate with each other. You will face errors. Now for the Firestore path, this is an important step. Your path is going to be like this. So I have added this part in the document as well, but this is an important part. All your triggers, all your communications, all the chatbot is going to listen to this path. So anything that will change in this particular path will get used with the Firebase extension, and it is going to update its responses also to this path. So update this part in the Firestore collection. Keep the rest of the field as it is. Do not change anything. So your location should be the first US central one. Your Firestore path should be the users, UUID and messages. If you see, I have mentioned it in the document also. So users, UID and messages. And rest of the things will be as it is. You don't need to change anything. And then say install extensions. Now this takes around 3 to 5 minutes depending upon your network, how fast your internet provider is. We'll also install another one more extension. Search multimedia task with Gemini APIs. So multimodal task with Gemini APIs. This is basically going to give you descriptions of your images that you upload. So you have to follow the similar process. Install. Again use the same project. Here also it will ask you permissions, few permissions here and there. Like it is asking me Firestore permission, storage permission. So when you are enabling the storage, always use database in test mode. Okay, we'll first set up the storage. So we are going to set up the database first because we saw the extensions was not able to set up a database. First we'll set up the Firestore. Go to Firestore. Now we are going to set up database for both the extensions. So first we'll set up for chatbot extension and then for the multimodal. You have a create database option over here. Always select the standard edition mode. Don't change the database ID, do not change the location. I had mentioned earlier that your database is going to use the US Central 1 location and your extensions are also on the same location. So do not change this. Select next. Always use it in the test mode. We are not going live and we are going to use in test mode. If you see, the rules are configured accordingly. So in test mode, you just have a month or so of read and write access. Later on, then it will be a false condition and your applications will not be used, be able to read and write to this particular database. And then create. Now we need to create collections. So collections are nothing but imagine it as a folder structure. So in a folder you have multiple files. So imagine this, you need to create a folder and you can have multiple files or multiple data under it. So select start collection. In this we had mentioned a path, right? Users. So first is your users. This is a collection ID. Next. For now just select auto ID. So this is an automatically generated unique ID. And remove this, you don't need this for now, and then save. How many of you are with me? Should I wait or move ahead? If I don't get any response, I'll move, considering that everyone is with me. All the videos are there in the document, so you can refer it there as well. So after the users and unique ID, we also had a message collection. So you need to click collect, start a collection. Here is your messages. Next. Again, an auto generate. Now inside message, I can have my prompts. So this is where let's see, I have hi. So this is where the data or the extension is going to read right now. It's not installed. So if you see in the how it works extension, it has like how your data is getting read. Yeah. So you see a path is being seen over here. So this is where the extension is going to read the data. So if I update anything in that particular path, for example here, users, add a new document saying you see my extension already updated the status saying that, okay, your message was processed and this is the response saying that, okay, good morning to you, how can I help you today? So it was listening to the message path that I had given earlier. Now we also need to add one more the collection, which is for the image processing extension. So the collection ID will be gallery. Auto generate, you can skip this and just save for now. You see all my earlier chat, whatever I had showed you on the screen are over here. So I had asked her, tell me about Firebase extension. The responses over there. And you can also see the status, the completion time, when it started, what is the status, when it was updated. So everything of this is done by extensions. I did not write any code for this. How many were successfully able to install the extension and create the database? Okay. So now we have the backend ready. We will connect the front end. So you need to use the third command, which is you need to install Firebase tools in a local machine. So run this command in the project folder. Make sure you are in the project folder itself. So you should be inside the Code Labs Gemini API extension folder. You need to run all the commands inside this particular folder. So basically what this command is going to do is going to install all the local Firebase tools that you need on your local machine. So this is like the npm package. Your next step is you need to log into Firebase locally. So you need the Firebase login. Once the local Firebase tools are installed, run the next command, that is Firebase login. It will ask you an email ID, password, or it will redirect you to your Chrome or any browser site where you need to log in with the same email ID which your project was being created. So Firebase login. Say yes to any questions. Basically it's just asking me what I need to use or not. Then it will redirect me to my Chrome, and you need to use the same email which your project was created with. Allow, and then you have the message saying that you successfully logged in. Now comes the important step where we are going to actually link our front end with the back end. So you have this Firebase config file inside source, inside app, and inside lib folder. There is a firebase.config.js file. For most of you, this file is going to be empty. So this is something like this. Your file is going to look like. So you need to add your Firebase keys over here. Imagine this as your connection socket or connection portal for your Firebase. So for that, in your project, go to Settings, General. Scroll down, you will see this particular keys over here. Copy the keys. Since the other code is already there in a project, you don't need to copy the entire file. Just copy the key value pairs for your configuration. And then paste it over here. So paste it here. Also comment the first line. The first line is going to throw an error. Comment the first line or delete it. It's just going to throw an error unnecessarily. So comment that. So what this is doing is, if you see, the last line says that initialize my app with all the given key value pairs. So basically creating a connection. Your front end is getting connected with your Firebase backend. Once this is done, now it's just that I need to also connect it with my project. So for that, again go to your project settings. Over the top you have this project ID. Copy the project ID. If your Firebase packages were installed, say Firebase use and your project ID. So you're basically saying that, okay, connect the project with my local machine. Once this is done, you need to deploy the rules. The rules are basically saying, if you check the rules file, the Firestore rules, they are basically saying that I give read and write permission to the local machines project, to my project, etc. To deploy, you have the command over here, copy this command and paste it on your terminal. Only to the sixth point. You can see it's deploying the rules to my project. So, getting the read and write access to the database that I have created. Now you need to do is npm start dev. The commands are also there in the readme file to set up the project. You can also refer the project's readme file. npm run dev. Okay, so your website will be on the localhost 3000 port. If you So I have already logged into the site. If you run your own website, it is going to show you sign in with Google button. So sign it with any email ID that you want. It can be another or the same email ID. Yeah. So the session was already stored, hence I can see the earlier message. But let's say I add another message over here. You see it will show me the status as well, saying that the message is being generated, and simultaneously my Firestore is also getting updated in real time. So I got the response as well. And I can also have the description over there. For that, now if you see your Firestore, Yeah. So this was the latest message that I had sent. So I did not write any code to get the response or to store it somewhere. Everything was done through the trigger functions that I had shown earlier, which was listening to this particular path, and it was already coded in the chatbot API extension. Now to enable the multimedia, since we have a couple of minutes, go to storage. Now select a folder, create a folder. The folder name should be gallery. So this also you need to set up similarly how we had set up the earlier project extension. The only change over here is once you have given the permissions. Okay, so again select the Vertex AI. For this, the path will change. This path will be gallery. So make sure I'm using gallery because in the code, if you see, I am referring to that particular path to read and send data. Yeah. If you see here, I am reading the data from that particular database address. Also, whatever files are getting uploaded are going to get uploaded to that particular data. Hence, I'm using the same, collection names or your folder names basically. For prompt, you need to say image. And again, your database will be this first one, the central US Central 1 location. And then install extension. So again, this will take a couple of more minutes, but I have an example over here. So any image that I upload, so what will happen is the image will get uploaded in the storage. Storage is nothing but the Firebase space for storing your multimedia files. Any image, any videos are stored on the storage folder. So anything that I upload to gallery is going to be listened, if you see. So this is my unique user ID. Hence, all images are getting uploaded to my user ID. Now, this was the image that I uploaded earlier. So it is going to copy the file location. That file location, it is automatically going to get added to the gallery. It is going to get added to the image prompt, and the extension is going to generate the description for me. So I did not write the code, to upload the image, to store it in another database, read the database, read the image, give me the description. So extensions has done that for me. Now this is a very small site. Imagine if you have, like I had earlier explained, if you have a payment site and you need all the transaction data, you need to see users uploaded screenshots of payment done or payment success or payment failed. And all that you can do with just simple extensions. You don't need to sit and write chatbot code. You don't need to sit and write train your data, then clean your data, etc. Everything is done with the extensions. And if you see, all the extension details are also here. How exactly the extension works, what access you need, what are the APIs and resources that are getting used. You can also see the logs. So you don't need to worry about the logging or error matrix. If you see, so this is going to redirect you to the Google Cloud Platform, and you can see the logs, like how, if there was any error, you can see the logs over here. What was the trend and how many users were using the application? Did any error come up? What was the error? Everything is going to be, simple logs are going to be over here. You did not write the code for this. The extension is doing it for you. Okay. So if you want to host your application and actually work on production database, these are the next 3 commands that you can work on later. Since we have a limited amount of time, I'll just give you an overview of. So you can use the Firebase app hosting and hosting service to host your application as well. Okay. I hope you were able to build your own chatbot by now. And if you have any queries, any questions, we are here until the event and you can connect with us on LinkedIn as well. And I hope you were actually able to plug and play and build your AI application with extensions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srushti, for that amazing workshop. And we would also like to thank Amay.
Yes,
wonderful
absolutely.
session.
And thank you for the GCP credits. Y'all are not thanking them for the GCP credits, guys.
Exactly. Free GCP credits.
All right. We would once again call our speakers, Amay Nerkar and Shruti Rebhog, back on stage
so that we can felicitate them. And to do so, we are going to call our organizers, Atri Dash and Shumantro Mukherjee, to do the same.
Absolutely.
Round of applause, everyone.
All right. So that was a wonderful session, of course. And we have been having a lot of wonderful sessions so far. But there are people without whom today wouldn't be possible. Not in a way just that they are huge contributors in today's event, but also because without their constant support, all these events that we are parts of, all these events that we get to participate in, none of this would be possible. One of those extremely supportive, extremely revered people that we have here with us today is Professor Dr. Dhrubajyoti Chattopadhyay. He is the Pro-Chancellor of Sister Nivedita University, and he has graced us with his valuable presence today. Can we have a huge round of applause as we call him up on stage? And could we please have Otri Das from GDG Kolkata to felicitate, sir? I would request sir to share a few words of insight with us. Today is incomplete without those.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody, the participants over here, not only from Sister Nivedita University, from different colleges and universities. At first, I must thank the Google Developer Group, Kolkata, for organizing this particular meet, where they are having a large number of very important personalities to be present over here as a speaker. And we know that this build with AI and looking us for future ready is something which is a great challenge for all the students. And it's not only for the computer science, but it's across the disciplines, because we consider this as an interdisciplinary area right now. For example, if you think about my interest is completely, I'm from a health science group, and the AI in healthcare, I don't know. It has got so much of impact actually, and we're learning continuously for this actually, and how we can utilize this AI for actually getting even the information regarding new drug discoveries, new pathways of looking at the systems is something which is making us much more easier than what we used to do with our research activities. So for example, 5 years of research activities giving us some data which are actually right now it's possible to get it with correct prompt and other things that you can get it within 2-3 months. It's a validation and other things which you have to do it afterwards. So for getting future ready, the AI is something which is going to be a very important one, and that's why the Google developer groups, this particular the way they have organized it, and definitely I shall congratulate Shayani, our faculty members from the computer science department for helping the whole things. Thank you, Shayani. Let's give a big hand for Shayani also. And definitely the organizers who are actually organizing it. But what I just wanted to, I don't know whether you have any specific lecture, I find that in my area, the cognitive science and AI is very interrelated right now. And this cognitive science actually belongs to so many disciplines, and that particular intersection of AI and this cognitive science is definitely going to help us to make us future ready. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights and gracing our event. Now I would like to call upon stage the GDG organizers as well as the CSE faculty at SNU, Dr. Shayani Mondol, along with the Pro-Chancellor of course, for a photo session. Please do grace us. Everyone a round of applause. Okay, so now what do we have in the agenda?
We have been having wonderful conversations out here, right?
Are you sure? Are you sure?
You and I have been wonderful conversations, right?
So what about these conversations?
Nobody said yes. I'm so hurt. Anyways, I feel like these conversations that we have, our speakers were up here and, they were having a wonderful time with the audience. The audience were having a wonderful time listening to the speakers. But imagine all this being like robotic.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Basically, right now, what we are having is human. There's a little bit of awkwardness, let's say sarcasm.
Yes.
But what about with AI? I would say we converse daily with AI. Right? I think everyone in the audience can attest to that.
Absolutely. And then we see AI recycling sentences. Like, I heard that sentence 5 minutes ago. That's not what I was asking for.
But I think our next speaker is going to change that. So he's the co-founder of Studio One and a developer advocate whose work has reached over 800,000 readers.
Insane. Absolutely insane. And he is bringing the heat in this heat with Google's latest real-time models. He'll show us how to build voice agents that skip the text middleman and process audio directly from natural low latency flow.
So let's please welcome the AI pioneer, Orindam Majumdar. Everyone, a round of applause.
Guys, are we running on low energy?
I'm running on low energy, I think.
Are they running on low energy? We can run on low energy, that's okay. Are you all running on low energy?
I think they're a little hungry. Is that the case? Is anyone really hungry, wants to go for lunch? Okay, there are quite a few people, but I think we can wait a little.
Yes, this is actually our last session before the lunch. So put all your energy indiscriminately into this session. Have all the fun that you want because next up is lunch.
Next up is lunch.
Okay.
So let's bring up on stage Arindam Majumdar. Everyone, again, a round of applause.
Give him a huge round of applause, guys. Thank you.
A small change of events. Which is...
He needs like 5 seconds.
He
That's
needs
all
5
the change
seconds,
we have.
Exactly, that's the change we have.
Hello. Yeah. Awesome. So till we are setting up the connections, I can understand a lot of people are feeling hungry. So if you are someone like that, I'm also hungry. So you can raise your hand so I can get a glimpse that, okay, how many of you are already hungry? Okay. Okay. So the next part is lunch. So I will not bore you guys. I promise. I will have an interesting talk. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So till the slides are coming up, so I can just introduce myself. So yeah, I am Arindam. I am co-founder at Studio One, and I'm also work as a DevRel consultant at Navius. And I pretty much love playing around with agents, and I have built a couple of agents. Okay, let me just. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So pretty much what I was talking about, I work as a DevRel consultant at Navius, and previously I worked at PSACE and Deploy. And yeah, I love building agents. I have built around 100 agents for my clients and for my work. And yeah, I love contributing to open source. I will not bore with my intros. So let's jump in on what we will be talking about. Yeah. So in the first session, we have talked about what AI agents are, what all things we have in the agent lifecycle, right? So the next part of that is what I'm going to discuss, which is the voice agents. So we have seen that a huge expectations of voice coming up in all these sectors, right? We all use WhatsApp voices, right? Yeah. So pretty much a lot of us, I guess around 60 to 70% people like to use voices for their work. So that's why we are just here trying to build voice agent that can just work with our voice commands. So yeah. So I will start with a quick motivation. So because a lot of people are already hungry. So yeah, a lot of people are scared that AI will take our jobs, right? The only way to prevent that, use AI, right? And we all are developers, right? Or we all are engineers. We just know how to somehow get things to work, right? So we will use AI to reserve our job so that it does not take our jobs. So I think this is enough to motivate you all to attend this session till the end. Cool. Now let's come to what is voice agent. Here, anyone have worked with voice agents before? Okay, I see a couple of hands. Awesome. Cool. Now I will start with for those who don't have understanding of voice agents on what voice agents are. Right. So this is the traditional pipeline, how we used to build voice agents. So the first part of it, we have the user speech. So just like me, talking using the mic, you can interact with the agent with an input device. And then the audio stream, that speech is converted to text using the speech to text model. So we call it SST models. Then the text is then passed to the large language models, right? We all know Claude models, OpenAI models. So the large language model then processes those texts and generates the response based on that. And then we have the text-to-speech models, which are the TTS model. And as the name suggests, it converts the text into audio streams. And finally, we get the audio output, right? So we have this pipeline for a while. We used to work pretty well. But as you can understand, right, it has a lot of steps, right? We first convert the speech to text, then we reason it, then we generate response, then we again convert that text into speech, right? It adds a lot of latency. And for smaller voices like hi, hello, it's fine. But let's say you ask us, okay, what is the score of today's IPL match? It will take like minutes. And to be honest, whenever we are having a call, right, we don't like to get an answer after 30 seconds, right? It will just turn us off, right? So it's pretty bad to have that kind of latency. So for the longer time, we had this problem of latency in voice agents. But now, to solve that, we have native audio models, which I will talk in the next slide. Okay. So just to solve that thing, we now have this speech-to-speech pipeline. So as you can see, as simple as it looks, it is that simple, right? We have the user audio stream here. Then we have speech-to-speech models, and Gemini has the native speech-to-speech model, which is their latest 3.1 Flash Live model, which can do all these previous 3 steps that we have seen in the previous step, that speech-to-text, the reasoning, and the answer generation, and the text-to-speech part. So the whole 4-step or 3-step, if you count, can be done using this one LLM. And then we are getting the audio stream output. So do you think it reduces the latency? Right. So it actually reduces the latency. And latency is not the only thing that we are trying to optimize for. There are a lot of more things we need when we are working with voice agents, right? So in the first session, we saw that agents need tools to perform tasks, right? So voice agents also need tools, right? If I want an important information, for example, if I'm trying to create a scorecard prediction, or if I'm just asking my chatbot, hey, I'm going to watch this match, when is the timings? Or who is going to play for this, right? So for that, it needs tool calling. So Gemini supports the tool calling, and it has significant good results with function calling. So it can use all the APIs, it can do web search, and it can do other stuff. So you can use RAG and other stuff with it as well. Cool. So here are some quick pointers about the latest Gemini real-time model. So as I mentioned, it is pretty good at complex function calling. So this is one benchmark, the complex bench audio for voice models. So it is very highly capable on function calling, on multiple function calling, in fact. So not just one. Let's say you want very in-depth research, right? How many of you have built deep research agents? Okay. Cool. So in deep research, we need to go through multiple sources and get to a lot of context and then generate the response, right? So it can be used for that. Then we have long horizon reasoning, as the name suggests, for complex tasks, right, where we need to have a lot of reasoning to be done. A lot of times, LLM just gives us very dumb answers, right? We don't like that, right? So we need a very good reasoning for voice models as well. So Gemini 3.1 comes with a very long reasoning capability. And then the best part about Gemini models for me is they always come with multimodal support, right? So because in India, we have multiple languages, right? If you're building a voice agent, you need to make sure that it is not only in English or Hindi, because a lot of people are comfortable in other languages. So Gemini has support for 70 languages, which means if you're building a voice agent, it can be used for any of these languages. And another part about security, when you are working with agents, it can always be used in very harmful tasks as well. So they have this synth ID integration, which basically it's an inaudible to human, but if you use it on any system, they can detect that this audio is AI generated or not. So for human, we don't see any difference, but it can be detected that if an audio is AI generated or human generated. Cool. Another big problem of the traditional pipelines were the voice drift. So a lot of times when we have a very long chat, right? A lot of times, let's say we have a very exciting tone in the beginning, and then after a couple of minutes, let's say the tone suddenly changes. That also is not good, right? That also feels a bit weird. So that happens because we have a very long pipeline, and the last part of that pipeline don't have very much good understanding of what was before. We are just essentially passing a text TTS model, and it is just generating the speech, right? So a lot of time the excitement or the tone we essentially configured the agent for used to lost. So you can see there is a huge drift in the first case for the legacy SST models and TTS models. And now, since we have everything in one model, the drift is very less. You can see it is pretty consistent with the tone. It is pretty consistent with the excitement or the persona that you have defined for it. So it makes it pretty well. So yeah, so here is a quick difference that I have already discussed. The latency for the legacy pipeline is very high. For the native audio models like Gemini, it is sub-second streaming, which is quite fast. The tone preservation as well, it usually gets lost in translations, and now we have very high sensitive one. The architecture, it's like 3-step, and then we have just one model. We are just feeding it and getting the response. And then the language switching part, for these other models, we need to hard code the language that, okay, if you're starting with Hindi, you need to keep it Hindi. If you're starting with Bengali, keep it Bengali. But in Gemini, you can switch in between talking. So let's say I'm talking in English, I can switch between Hindi. It understands that pretty well. So that is one good feature of Gemini. And now we will talk about how we can actually build the voice agent, right? We need the infra for it. So for that, we will be using LiveKit, which basically provides the real-time WebRTC infrastructure for all the audio, video, or any media-related works. So this is pretty much the architecture of it. I mean, very high level. They have a lot of other offerings, but yeah. So we have the browser or our application. We are connecting with the LiveKit cloud server using the WebRTC, and that LiveKit cloud server is just connected with our agent. So it will make the whole process simpler. You can also use other frameworks. So LiveKit is also open source. You can use other frameworks like PipeCat, and there are a couple of more as well. Awesome. So the next part is context, right? If you ask any LLM without any search and all, that, okay, who is the president of US? It might say Joe Biden, right? So because it has the training data of that. But now we need real-time data. We don't need very stale data that just says 5 years back or text. So for that, we need to do web search. We need to scrape website. We need to get informations of that. So for that, we will use Holostep, which is a web data API for agents. So you can just pass natural language prompts, and it gives you the results with the source. So that's pretty much of the tool stack that we'll be using. And this is the whole architecture of what we are going to build today for the voice agent. So this is the user device. The LiveKit cloud is connected with WebRTC. And then here we have our Python agent, which use the LiveKit agents SDK. And then we have the Gemini Flash model for the audio generation and processing. And for tool calling, we use Holostep Answers API that takes the prompt and generates the answer using the live data. Cool. Now it's demo time. And I will show you how the whole process works. But if you are interested, you can scan this QR. The full code is open source. You can find that in the GitHub repo that I have. So I will give you 30 seconds, so at least you can scan, or once you are done, you can let me know. Okay. Anyone left to scan? Okay. Yeah, you can just scan this code. I will go through each code later in the later stage, just for reference if you want to take it home. Let me just open. Okay, it is visible. Is this screen properly visible to everyone from the back? It's not visible. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me just use these slides then. Oh. Just give me a sec. Sorry? Holostep is just a web data API. You can use any web scraper. Yeah. So you can use, there are multiple providers like Exa, Firecrawl. So it's just used for the ease of using it. And they also have a free tier if you want to use. Just let me. Yeah. So this is visible, right? From the back, those who said, awesome. Cool. So first, we will do the basic imports. I don't think I need to explain, but yeah, I will explain. Just take a look at this thing, the LiveKit agents. From this one, we are importing very important 3 classes that will be the core part of our voice agent. So the first is the agent server. So it basically establishes the connection between LiveKit cloud and our agents. And using this only, we will stream the audio back to the cloud and then to the user. And then we have the agent session, which basically manages the chat conversation, every single chat conversation that we have. So whenever we are starting one session, then we start a new agent session. And then we have the agent, which defines how the agent will perform, and the instruction that we give to it, the tone, and all these things. And then we have the function tool that we will use to define what all tasks it can perform, what all access it will have. And for the real-time model, I'm using the LiveKit plugin of Google. And for the web scraping, I will be using Holostep. So that's pretty much of this. Yeah. Next part is the prompt. And we have the model as well. So in the beginning, we'll just define the real-time model, which is a 3.1 Flash Live preview. So one thing to note here, it is still in preview mode. So the model name might change later. So if you're using it, let's say 1-2 months later, make sure you go to the API docs and correct the model later. And then the voice I have selected as Zephyr. You can use other voices, it's just male, female voices, based on your preference. And then we have the instructions, right? So a lot of us think that we just tell our agent that, you are a very good agent, you are a professional agent, and it will be like one, right? But in the essential world, it is not like that. We need to give it a whole lot of details that, okay, how you should behave, how you should interact, how you should greet someone. So it's a good practice whenever you are defining an agent, have a very verbose instruction, which is a system prompt. For example, here I'm just mentioned that you are a live voice assistant powered by Gemini, being demoed on stage by Arindam to the attendees of GDG Kolkata's Build with AI event. And the behavior, so here I've defined how the opening behavior will be, then the style, how the tone will be. So if you're building an agent, let's say for healthcare, and now someone is calling for emergency, you cannot be excited that, oh, hey, you have a heart attack. That's a great news, right? That will be a terrible situation, right? So you need to make sure that the purpose of the agent should be mentioned here, so it does not mess up, right? Because if you do that, you will be in jail. Cool. Next up, we have the function tool here. So this is nothing much. The tool, the agent will call to get the information, just like how you do. Just we run this function, we pass a parameter, we get a response. That's it. It's nothing complex. So we just for that we just use this function tool decorator, and we just passing the query argument, and we are using the OLO-Step SDK for it, passing the API key, and just using the answers to get the response, and just returning that, and with the source as well. And then here we have our voice agent. So if you see, it's just 4 lines of code, like nothing much into it, but it does a lot of work. So the voice agent class defines the agent definition. So we have defined the instruction previously. We are passing that here. And then the server, using the agent server, we are defining the waiver TC connection. So whenever we start a session, it will pass through this. And then, so this is the entry point, as the function name suggests. So this will be, so the server.rtc session, what it does basically, whenever we or any client, let's say we have a web browser, right? We are joining from browser. So whenever a client joins, the LiveKit cloud directly calls this entry point function and passes this job context. So what job context has? Job context has all the details, right? Who all the participants joined, their room ID. So room is essentially whenever we are joining in a waiver TC, we are creating a room and joining there. And all this metadata is essentially. And then we are just taking that as an input here. And then we are just defining the session, passing the LLM here, using the real-time model, passing the model name, the voice, and the tools here, the web search tool that we have defined in the previous slides. And then we are just starting the session. Make sure we are passing the room here, because this is pretty important. So the object that the LiveKit cloud is passing to us, from that itself we get the room ID. So we need that room ID to join that call essentially. Like how we join Google Meet, right? We need a room ID or a link, right? They also need that. So then we are passing our voice agent, who will be joining from the AI side, and finally we are just running it. So that simple it is, right? It's not a huge lines of code. If I just remove all these instructions and parts, it is about 50 lines of code. So essentially building a voice agents is not that tough of like writing microservices, right? Okay. Now let me just show you a quick demo of how this should work in practice. So I will just run this server, and I will, on the other terminal, I will open the LiveKit. Just give me a sec. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so hello, how are you?
And a huge welcome to everyone at GDG Kolkata's Build with AI event. I'm great, so excited to be here. What would you like to chat about, or should we try out the web search?
So basically, I'm just giving them a demo of how a voice agent should work, and they are pretty interested about it.
That's fantastic. It's great to show them first. Let's put my web search to the test. What's the latest news on generative AI?
Okay, so we will start with who won the IPL in 2025.
According to my search, the Royal Challengers Bengaluru won the IPL in 2025. That's what sources like ESPN Cricinfo say. Anyone have another question?
Okay, so that's pretty good. Can you just tell me who is the highest run scorer of this current IPL 2026?
Sure thing. Right now, sources like BBC Sport are saying Virat Kohli from Royal Challengers Bengaluru is the highest run scorer with 328 runs, holding the orange cap. Ready for the next one?
No, thanks. This works. It was nice talking to you. Have a good day. Bye.
You're very welcome, Arindam. It was a pleasure demoing with you. Have a great rest of the event. Everyone at GDG Kolkata, bye.
Cool. So we saw our voice agent in working. So now we had a lot of discussions, right? So the latency was pretty less, right? We just asked it, it just replied. And you all like that conversation, right? Now if you have to wait for 2 more minutes, which will delay your lunch, you will not like that, right? So now I will go to the technicalities here a bit. So here we can see some events, right? So this is pretty important. So these events are what we are getting the logs essentially. So first the conversation is added, right? So the initial is the system part. Then you can see the agent state changed. The speaking mode is now to listening. Then the conversation is added, right? So then you can see gradually we are just adding and changing the conversation. And finally we have the function call here. So here, when I asked it to tell me about who won IPL in 2025, it did not have the answer. So what it did, it just called the function tool, it got the response, it waited few milliseconds, and once it got the response, it just told us, right? So that's simple it is, and you can see, you can now make it even more robust. So you can add more functionalities to it. So let me just go to this. Yeah, so you can always self-host it. Yeah, it is open source. So for the simplicity, I don't want to add that complexity of self-hosting. You can always. Yeah, I'm just using the LiveKit Cloud. You can use their open, like you can host yourself as well. So we just see this thing. So yeah, that's pretty much of it. I also edited a video, so you can also check that. And if you have any questions, you can tell me. Otherwise, I will not block you folks to get lunch. Cool. So if you want to connect with me, you can find all my socials here. And in this keyword itself, you also find a GitHub repo which has over 100 plus AI agent examples. And yeah, that has recently got 10,000 GitHub stars as well. So yeah, that's pretty much of it. If anyone wants to scan it. Oh, there is a question? Yeah. Can we get a mic there? Oh. No. In the back.
At the back. Oh God.
So I had this question was, since we are like keeping that agent active, so when we are not saying anything, are our credits getting deducted?
No.
So only when we are speaking and it's detecting the sentences, that's the time when our credits get, right?
So see, the pricing, whenever they are costing you because of the tokens, right? So in the dashboard itself, let me just show you. You can see how many tokens you have consumed here. So if you see here, you can see how many tokens you have consumed. So this is the place you can see the LLM input and output, right? So whenever you are saying something, then only it is getting the input tokens. Otherwise, it's just completely going blank. So whenever you start speaking, you stop your talking. It then only takes the input, then it does the processing, and then it generates the output. So otherwise, it will not cost you. So yeah, I hope. Yeah, based upon the content of the audio as well, right? So essentially, how everything works behind the scenes. Just it generates the token and then it processes and then it gives the reply. So now one question would be like, if you're doing a lot of web search, it can consume a lot of tokens, which is fine. Yeah, so that is one fallback of it. So you probably need to optimize that for complex web search. So the goal is to consume less tokens. so it costs us less.
Sometimes we see that people send us a lot of WhatsApp voice messages. Can this technology be used to convert those voice messages into text messages so that it becomes easier for us to read rather than listen to the entire stuff?
Yeah, so for WhatsApp messages, you don't need a very complex thing like this. So you just need a speech to text model, which is the one part of the initial flow that I shared. So what it will do is it will just translate the text, the speech into text, and it will just give you the transcript essentially. So you can just use that. And I mean, to extend this project itself, what you can do is you have used Twilio, right? You can use Twilio to add calling features to it. You can then create an on-call agent. For example, I recently built this agent, which is a RSVP checker. So you all are coming to this event. I can just quickly go through the list of the participants, call them and confirm that, hey, tomorrow we have the event. Will you come or not? So that gives us a bit more flexibility. So yeah, so that's pretty much of it.
Another question I have.
Yeah.
Do we have like agent evaluation metrics or like anywhere from where we could evaluate the agent which we build, like Google ADK? Like in Google ADK, we have that option to go and evaluate the agents. So do we have it here in this live kit?
Yeah, so in LiveKit Cloud, you can get whenever if you self-host as well, they gives you all the logs. So if you, just give me a sec. So in the LiveKit Cloud itself, the logs that I was sharing that, okay, the conversation changed from, conversation state changed, then we had the, user speaking, then the, agent speaking. So that's essentially the logs, the tool callings, everything you get on the cloud version. And if you self-host as well, you can get that. And if you want to deploy it on somewhere else, you can just, set up the, observability stack for it. You can, there are some tools like, I guess, CometML does that. They have the observability stack for it. So you can use different providers like AgentOps as well. So yeah, you can explore the, if you are self-hosting, then you need to explore some other stacks. But if you are using the LiveKit Cloud, then you can just get it from the console. Somehow my network just gone. Okay, cool. Any other question? Yeah. One question. Yeah, so there are not very in terms of quality. If you say like the latest Gemini model, it's by far one of the very leading speech-to-speech models. For open source models, there are models, but in my opinion, the speech-to-speech models like Quen have some series of models, but I don't think they are that good. I haven't personally used them. So I have seen some of them coming up, but I haven't personally used them. So you can always use Quen models, but that also comes with a hardware constraint, right? Yes. You need to have certain GPUs installed to run that.
No, like generally ASR models, if they are given in a particular parameter range, like Microsoft's Vibe Voice, it can run on CPU. So my question to you is that this, I don't know if you are even allowed to answer this, how the Gemini voice model was trained. Was it on audio conversations, or is it like a late fusion or early fusion technique with a Gemini LLM infusion with another pipeline, transfer learning? Any idea?
To be honest, I am not sure about that. I haven't checked. I'm not sure if there is any info provided for. Yeah.
Do you have any info?
No, I don't think there are any public documents like how this model was trained. Usually, for the Gemma models specifically, because since those are open source and they are pretty good at multimodal stuffs,
yes.
They have the papers for that. I don't think they have papers for Gemini 3 series models, how they have trained. So I don't know about that. If I get something, I can definitely share with you.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Thanks a lot for the talk.
Awesome. Any more questions? Or cool. Okay. Thanks organizers for giving me this chance.
Well, thank you so much. That was a wonderful session. And in order to felicitate our speaker, I would love to have on stage one of our GDG Kolkata organizers, Shumantra Mukherjee. Okay, can we please have you back on stage? All right.
Lunch. Lunch
Lunch.
is now available
Lunch.
for all. And we will be having lunch in room 111.
Which is just the floor beneath this.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
but I know everybody's hungry. We realize that everybody's hungry. But that being said, could we please not rush? We will send you out in batches, in groups, and we will carry on like that because we can't possibly, be sending out so many people at once.
Okay, so those who are sitting in the back, the last 4 rows, please go ahead to room 111. We'll be moving from back to front.
Because we usually move from front to back. And it's very unfair to the people at the back. Last 4 rows only, okay?
Head over to the first floor for lunch.
We'll wait here till everybody has left. So you won't be the last one getting lunch.
Exactly, we're here. Don't worry. While we are here, I have caught them.
She will ask for feedback.
Yes, I will ask for feedback. Is anyone willing to share their experience here? Would you like to share your experience? Please. You were looking away from me. I just had to pick you.
Oh, she's not asking for feedback. She's extracting feedback.
I'm extracting feedback.
So I actually have a fear of public speaking, so this is kind of my biggest challenge. So till now, everything is going pretty smoothly, and yes, obviously, currently the use of live kit, I have never heard of it. Today I heard the first time, so definitely I will be using it in my project. And also the payment integration in Stripe, also that I'll be using in my project. And for feedback, till now everything is going very smoothly. I am an organizer myself in my university. So
What do you organize?
I am the vice president of Tech Club in Brainerd University.
Thank you so much. So I think I've helped you get over your fear of public speaking today.
That was your destiny.
Anyone else would like to share their experience?
Anyone else who has a fear of public speaking?
So one thing just I want to...
Just take it a little closer.
Achha. I just wanted to inform one thing, like in the page itself, there mentioned that SNU, that is correct, not an issue, but we should mention the address also, else it may create some confusion.
Address in the website.
See, SNU is well-known thing. When we search in the Google, SNU is mentioning, but in the website, in the Instagram or something, so there is not directly mentioned the location, like it's the pin code, the nearby locations and all. So that will be helpful, what I think. Because
Okay, we'll take that into account.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
that is one thing, because when we just come to, like, we need to confirm that, that SNU, maybe there is some different, like there is multiple branch or something. So on that time, that can be confusion for many of people.
Was it difficult coming here?
No, not a problem for me, but but one of my fellow, he come to, so he just bit confused, like the location